Okay, hey everybody, it's Darren, and welcome to our fifth annual live show here on VBAdrenaline, and our June 14th live show as we get ready to preview the opening of the live period for the class of 2028 and recruiting, and the day that everybody has talked about and waited for, and all the camps and all the travel and all the recruiting and all of the coaches stopping by your courts and the speculation and sending all those emails and everything else comes down to, let me stress this again, the beginning of the recruiting season tomorrow, and the opening for, again, the class of 2028. And my nephew Zach will be working in the backgrounds and getting everything ready. As a matter of fact, he's trimming up our great PowerPoint that we should have had done at noon, but it's been a busy day around here, so we're getting that trimmed up, and Zach will take care of that. But in the meantime, let me welcome our first coach of the evening, and one of a few national champions, I guess, we have on here tonight. So I'm pretty lucky. And let me bring in the head coach. If we'd be able to bring in the head coach of Penn State University and Coach Katie Schumacher-Colley. Coach, thank you very much for taking time on one of your few probably nights off, but thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So back and the end of, you guys had camp, let me think, 2 days ago, maybe?
Yeah, 2 days ago. Yes, 2 days ago.
And so I live vicariously, I guess, through the athletes, and we wait to see the flourish of pictures on Instagram to take attendance. And I know you can't bring up names and everything, but what is it like for coaches, I guess, because you know, and you've done this forever, but every year, just knowing how exciting that is, because you've done it forever, but yet you know how exciting that is for the athletes when it's a brand new crop.
Right. No, I mean, it's really exciting to get a group of new athletes on campus and to experience our gym, our atmosphere, and get a really good look at the campus. We get an exciting group on, and I think Brian does a great job of highlighting and getting the best players on campus, and our staff does a tremendous job running the camp. And so it's been a fun couple years, and I'm excited to keep recruiting. And this is a really special class, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Do you think we all get caught up? And I know I do, but with all the NTDPs and all the other stuff, do we sometimes forget? Like, I get jealous of these girls that I'm like, you got to go to camp at Penn State, or you got, like, do they look back, do you think, after a few years and realize what they get to do and pinch themselves that all the places they get to go to camp sometimes?
I think these athletes, and I always tell them to be really grateful to their parents or their grandparents or their aunts and uncles, the people that help them get there, because it's hard. I've done it with 2 of my daughters, and we split up and try and get them to a couple camps, and it is challenging, but I think they really enjoy the process. And it's a really special environment at any of these schools to get these young athletes, and they're 14, 15, 16 years old, and I hope that they can enjoy this process and going to different campuses and meeting different coaches and players, and because it is special.
Yeah, you talk about that with your daughters. What's that like when you've been coaching and player and done all that you've done, but now as a mom, what's it like when you do the camp thing as a mom?
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm super excited for my daughter Stella is starting this process tomorrow, and, to see where it's going to take her. And, everyone's process is so different. And I think sometimes the athletes put a lot of pressure on themselves and having to hurry up, and, they should be enjoying this process. And it's still quite some time before they get to college. So I think just really soaking it in and seeing the campus and checking out the academics and seeing if it's a good fit for them. So it's a special time for everyone. I mean, I'm super excited for her to go through this process, and I'm excited for our athletes at Penn State that we'll be talking to, and for our staff to continue to bring the best players we can onto campus.
What do you guys do? And I know you talked about Brian, who, I mean, he's passionate, that's for sure, and lives this thing, the recruiting part. But what's it look like? I always call it the war room. I mean, I take it from the NFL draft, but do you guys meet?
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure. We met right after. We met Friday after camp, and it's me, Brian, Megan, and Abby, and going through each player, going through our scholarship board, and kind of what we need to fill. And my coaches do a great job of evaluating and getting to know the players and watching them. And so I think we have a great handle on it. And we always say we want players that want to be at Penn State. And so I think it's a special place. And but the staff works really hard, and I'm really proud of the staff we have, and I think they're really special.
Yeah, and when you get there, but like it or not, a lot of times it does go really fast, whether I like it or coaches like it, or you talk about his mom. It does go with the top schools. It tends to go really fast. And does that speed it up for you guys? Like, does it make it really quick? Like, you have to have different plans, or because to me, I better wake up pretty early tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we always have a plan of the what ifs, and, more so it's to talk to these athletes and to their parents and to let them know what we have to offer here. And every school is different. But, I think once players visit campus and come to camp and do those things, some might really know this is the place for them. And if it's our pick too, and then it's a great fit. But, it's no pressure on our ends. Like I said, we want players that want to be here. And, we go from there. But there's so many great players in this class. And, unfortunately, at some schools, they can only take a few players. And, we have a great roster right now, and looking to continue to add on to, the next incoming class as well. So.
And last thing, and I'll leave you on this, but when I coached, and you go through a season or whatever, just any coach, and then you get to camp time, but now I can't imagine recruiting. But when you put that whistle on for camp, and it's been a few months since the NCAA tournament, do you really start to get that itch and thinking of August?
Yeah, our whole team came back this past week, and so it was enjoyable to see them working camp, and just having them back around the facility. It's really nice. So I'm super excited for this season and to see what this group can do. It's a special group, and I'm really proud of what they've done on and off the court. And I'm looking forward to it. But I'll enjoy June a little bit here before we get going back in July. So
if you do get a day off, you take that for sure. But we talked about the First Serve Showcase and actually sponsored this thing for us. So I put that up. I'm like, let's go. But we'll let you enjoy a couple days off. And I promised 10 minutes or less, so I'm going to hold you to that. The one thing I didn't want to know, because I did not get to talk to you enough, and we'll leave it at that. You sent me a very, very important text, and I don't get to talk to you a year or so ago. And as close to person we get, I wanted to tell you thank you, because that meant a whole lot to me, and we'll leave it at that. But as close to person, thank you so very much.
I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for all you do and for this platform. It's amazing. Yeah. And volleyball is really getting hot, and we're very fortunate as a female sport right now to be on the rise and to continue to be exposed like this.
Hey, we'll keep plugging away, and this is my Christmas, I guess. So I love recruiting, and I'm an older man now, so I will get up, and I need a couple hours nap tonight. I can't go all night. I'll be up seeing what happens and tweeting away tomorrow. So take care, Coach.
Thank you.
You and we'll see you in August. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Coach Kate, no, guys, we got a long time before a run. So, Coach Katie Schumacher-Colley, national champion as a player and a coach. And yeah, she talked about it, pulling the double this year. And Zach, thank you so much. Zach gets is the hero and gets our PowerPoint up and ready. But yeah, and so she is the first guest tonight, and it is different with the bigger schools, but volleyball in general, you don't have a lot of room on your roster. And when it's 16 in cover, and we'll talk about more the 5-for-5 rule, which hasn't been passed, but from all indications, it will be. And listen, the fact of the matter is they will bring athletes continued in for development, but when you can bring a established 21, 22-year-old All-American or close to All-American in, as opposed to an 18-year-old or 16-year-old that they're recruiting now, you take the established 22-year-old. And so, and the other problem is when they're those blue blood college programs, everybody wants to go there. And so they have the pick of everybody. It's tough. And those are very, very tough jobs. And so those camps, everybody wants to be there. And, you know, it's a great problem to have, but it's also difficult. And so we had to cut that out to get our PowerPoint to fit here in our StreamYard studio, but want to thank Jamie Gordon and the ABCA First Serve Showcase. And this is the first serve, just Coach got in before the first serve, our 5th annual June 14th live show. And my buddy Zach, my nephew Zach, has been here with me for all of them. We've had some different co-hosts over the years. Amy Pauley, professional championship coach, Mac Pedraza, speaking of Penn State, and professional setter, has been here with us as well. And but Jamie Gordon, and wanted to give a shout out to the ABCA and the 3rd annual now First Serve Showcase coming up. And what an event, excuse me, that is going to be in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee this year. And you want to talk about a way to kick off any sport. What they've done with that tops football. It tops basketball. There we go. Thanks, buddy. And so right there is our plug for the First Serve. And you can't beat that. I started highlighting matches, and I'm like, we just highlight everything on there. But there are the matches this year for the First Serve Showcase in Milwaukee. And yeah, right off the bat, Texas A&M versus Louisville, and then a semifinal rematch from the Final Four, Wisconsin versus Kentucky, right away the first night of the season. And then we turn around, Wisconsin, Louisville. Coach Sheffield and I, when we talked about a month ago, talked about that match 2 years ago in the inaugural First Serve Showcase in Louisville. Now they turn around and Nael Escobedo and goes back, but now they're in Wisconsin. They're not in Louisville anymore. Her and Charlie are juniors now. They're not day one freshmen. You got that going on. And then night 3, and then Texas, David Hunt talked about that, playing Arizona State. Always start the year underrated. They always climb their way into the top 10, then to the Elite Eight. They are established. Year 3 or 4 of that regime, and we're going to talk about them later when it comes to programs with heat. Just really feel like they've done such a great job with transfers. They've done a great job with Arizona kids coming back to the program through the portal. Their camp has been on fire every year, and just a program in the right direction. Texas knows how good they are. And then day 3, A&M, SMU. What the heck? Let's load up the state of Texas and take them to Wisconsin for the opening weekend. But that's a rivalry. That's definitely a rivalry. And then, Pitt, Kentucky, 2 teams from the Final Four right there that both have very high hopes. Guess I didn't know Kentucky was preseason number 2. But there you go. And then the final day with Xavier and Marquette, the host teams getting a match on the final day. Pitt, Texas. Wow. Great way to open their season. But you can go online right now. I can't believe that's not sold out. We're going to be there. Coach Sheffield told me we needed to get up to Milwaukee. First time ever in Milwaukee. Zach, big football fan. Did you know the Packers used to have to play games in Milwaukee as part of their deal? That's right. They didn't play every game at Lambeau Field, but so there you go. Family 4-pack, buy 2, get 2 free. I mean, volleyball fans, let's go. Get up there, first serve. But the AVCA crew has turned that into such an amazing event to start the year. And then at the first 2, got to make it all 3. So what a way to start the year. But like Coach Katie just said, let's enjoy June. We got to get to nationals. We got to spend 10 days in Indianapolis first. So moving on, before we get to our next coach, our next guest, by the way, let's talk about what do we have next? Zach's talking about some of the teams with heat. What do we have? Move it. We win. All right. We'll start talking about some before Coach Carlini pops on. Let's talk about our top 10 at some of the positions. We'll get through as many as we can here. So let's start with middle blockers. We'll start breaking down the class. And let's start middle. This is a very deep, very talented class with athletes that could come in and start right away. And you talk about Shayla Rottenberg out of Nebraska, took over our number 1 player in the class itself, took that position when we watched her at Dream Team Camp last July, right after Nationals, and can do everything. But we just wrote an article on the website about that athlete that just checks every box in what you would want in a number 1 player, with what she does and being from Nebraska, the Lincoln area. But you want to talk about a multi-sport athlete, that Shayla, basketball, track as well. Now, next, moving on, Madeline Glossner from Colorado, 2 times in the national team program, going extensive work this summer as well. Watched her at the Dream Team Camp, have interviewed her a couple times, talked about her attitude and upbeat, just kind of a magnet for other athletes. One of those middles who there's been talk of her playing possibly opposite at the next level, but so many of these athletes have position flexibility. They're not just a middle. They're not just a pin. They can do multiple things. And that doesn't hurt them when they move on to college. So Maya Mortensen from Utah. And we interviewed her a week or two ago, and she talked about her national team experience. It was like, oh, I couldn't believe talking to the girls from Texas, and they practice every day. She's like, we just sometimes practice a couple times a month, meaning that one of the reasons coaches are so excited about Maya, she is completely untapped talent and doing what she's done. Still very, very raw, coached by her mom, BYU, All-American. And Maya has huge upside still to her game. Gracie White, Texas. And then Sean Waller, Sean TAB, or excuse me, not TAB, out of Tennessee, out of Nashville area. Again, still kind of unknown by the country. Physical, athletic, and just tenacity that I just don't think a lot of people have seen what she can truly do other than the people maybe in the NTDP program. Then Julia Clark, A5. Man, we had her maybe top 10 in the country. And now you see how deep this position group is. And you talk about Julia maybe being or 5-6 of her position group. Amari Frazier, we've talked about her quite a bit this year, but out of Arizona, Kenzie Andrews, Legacy, in that great Legacy program. And then Rylan Wingenbach has moved up, one of the hottest players in the class as far as rising. And what Rylan has done, and credit, because coming out of the summer, and I credit Rylan with a couple of things. One, her work on her footwork and her quickness and her explosion. She is an athlete who has put a lot of time in the weight room, her agility, and is just growing more into her body. But she has come so far, just like I said, with her quickness, and she has climbed so far. I didn't get to see her extensively until Chicago, and we wrote about this as well on the website. I didn't think, I had to ask somebody who the middle was for her club team, and they're like, "You're joking, right?" And I'm like, "No, seriously, I couldn't believe it was her." Had 2 great NTDP sessions, spring, winter, and she's crawled all the way up until 9th at her position group. So congrats, excited to see who's looking at her, what her possibilities are. And she could even be one of those where you look at her next spring and a completely different player yet again, as her ceiling is very, very high. So let's look at the middles, man. Setters, we've talked about this group a lot. I still think there is so much movement yet to be made in this group. And we'll talk, I'm sure, at some point tonight about the 5-for-5 and moving the calendar next year, the 29s, how it could possibly be the January actual signing or commit date. But I think if you moved with so many positions and athletes in this class, if the calendar was that right now, you would see some athletes who say they might be like an elite orange right now. And if that was the case, and then in January, you look at them at like 6-7 months from now, they could have moved their way all the way up a full level, like to the top of the red or the bottom of the elite red. And what that does is that's a whole different class of schools that's looking at you, right? And I'm going to adjust this and see if I can adjust our live cam. Sorry, I'll keep talking, but I'll see if I can adjust our live cam and we can show you our prestige board at all. before we get going, sorry. And so that's the difference with so many athletes with a high ceiling is they're a lot better volleyball players in 7 months. And so when schools recruit in January, they're looking at a totally different athlete. And so that's the reason that you want, there we go. We can get that. And so you want we'll bring it in here in a minute, but you want to wait as long as possible, right? And we talk about high window, right? In January, they're going to look a lot different. We talked about Ellie Randolph, the Kentucky verbal from last year's class. And sorry, we're doing this on the run, but Ellie Randolph in Kentucky's class, and we talked about watching her at this year's NTDP. Okay. And so when we watched her at this year's NTDP, she was just a completely different athlete, right, than she was last summer. And that's the difference with moving the calendar back that I'm really passionate about it because it helps the athletes. The other thing that it does is, as we wait for our next coach to pop on, the other thing that it does is now with the 5-for-5, it helps the athletes see what the roster is going to look like another full season from now, right? In January, what happens? They go through a full season and then another portal window opens up. Right. And so all of these seniors make the decision on if they're coming back for that extra year or not. So they get to see a whole nother year and what the roster looks like a whole nother year from now, and they can have a better idea what it might look like rather than 2 seasons out. So, but the setter group, I think, will change quite a bit. So our number one, Taimani Ianu, who we've talked about basically since the national team selection last year. And then number 2, basically again, since the exact same timeline, Jocelyn Samuels. And those 2 have been 1-2 for about the same amount of time. 3 has been Alexander Knox, Alex Knox, Pittsburgh area, just solid. And I know the other sites have her much lower, and I don't understand that because everyone, I guess I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of the people I'm closest with really, there's no question on that, on how solid and accurate of a setter that she is. Most would say that she is the most accurate setter in the class, the most solid and consistent setter in the class. And that's a given. And I love the way she commands and works with her hitters in all the big gyms, the connection she has with there. So we're going to stop there, even though the person coming on can definitely talk about these athletes a lot better than I can. But with that, I want to bring in, I'll talk about a champion. She's won more hardware than Ace has in its whole stock room. But this is my first time meeting this champion, and so I'm a little bit nervous. But Coach Carlini, thank you for joining us, and great to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Wow, it's still weird for me when people call me Coach. I'm like, you sure?
That's like me when they call me sir. I'm like, hey, knock that off.
Right.
That means I'm old.
It's like the same thing at ma'am at restaurants. Like, we don't need all that. Nope.
Hey, listen, now after you stop and they call you coach, then you're like, hey, it kind of makes me feel good, right? Like,
all right.
It could be called a lot worse. So I don't know, but how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Staying busy, of course. How are you?
Good. Yeah, the same. Now, Coach did tell me that you could handle the hard-hitting questions.
We'll see.
That I'm known for. And I have seen your attitude on the court, and so I know you can, but not today. Not today. Today is all about positivity and fun. So
yeah.
We're not going to get really, really deep. But first of all, how was it though? How was it making the transition? And so I talk to athletes all the time, and then when you're sitting there and you're kind of locked in with that seatbelt, like what was the first couple matches like when you couldn't get up and like save the Badgers?
Right. It's so funny because in international volleyball, it is like only the head coach that stands up. If anyone else stands up, like immediate yellow card, sit down. And so it's fun in the college game because you still get to interact and it feel like you're really in it. And so for me, my first season with the Badgers, it was I really wasn't allowed to talk to the players. If I had an adjustment that needed to be made or something that I was thinking, it had to go through Kelly. It had to go through Britt. And so that was kind of a tough navigation into it, but it was fun because I was still dipping my toe in the pond per se and like really just learning from them as coaches. So finally, when I was able to become a full-time assistant, it was like, okay, like release the beast, let's go. And so it's fun to still have that like passion for the game and be able to really, I don't know, just teach it and integrate it in a little bit different way. So it's fun. It's a fun balance right now. I'm learning a lot still as an athlete that I'm able to bring into the gym every day and still teach and coach.
Yeah. That, and you're doing that and to see you working, I guess, like I said, we're working with Charlie and now at camps and to see you just the social media, I guess, seeing social media clips of you working that, what a great asset. And I'm guessing now in recruiting as well, that how great is it to be like, hey, you want to come to Wisconsin? Here's Lauren Carlini, right? Yeah. So is that a huge part of your job when the recruiting part is to recruit prospective setters?
This has been, so this has been one of my like first years on the recruiting trail per se. And so it just really opened my eyes to what recruiting is nowadays. Of course, I have this perspective of what it was when I was younger. As an athlete being recruited when there really were no rules, right? I committed when I was 14. So just completely different landscape now. And so being in this position of, being a recruiter and being visible, it's, I don't know, it's cool to be able to go to court. And of course, all the other coaches we're on very similar courts and looking at the same kids and just being able to see them grow throughout a season. That part's been the most fun, to be completely honest. It's like, whoa, saw them earlier in the season. And now 2-3 months later, here we are and like making big strides in their games. And yeah, I guess with this being my first year, it's really like, it's just opening my eyes and I'm learning a lot throughout the process. And of course, big day tomorrow, but it's been really cool just to kind of learn as I go and get tossed in and, hey, we're going to figure it out, sink or swim.
Yeah. Hey, that's what I did like 5 years ago as a dumb football coach. You imagine me trying to learn like, what are you talking about? And so, but I understood like recruiting and I had a passion for the recruiting game. Yeah. Which I still do. But now when they're like, oh, she's got great hands. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Hands are, and but I understand strategies and that's my passion. Yeah. Is okay. How does Wisconsin approach something and Texas does it different or, and being an old college football coach, it was more the long haul and a year and a half type. Yeah. Where, and so when y'all talk about potentially moving a calendar back, I'm like, I get that because now you really got to build, you might go into a living room. You might, you might have to fly down to, or
Mhm.
you might have to drive through a blizzard to Sioux Falls, South Dakota,
Mhm.
and sit and
Yeah.
eat a bunch of meals cooked by parents and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But what has been the travel and going to club tournaments and
Mhm.
going back to that part? Have you enjoyed seeing like the growth, but doing that part again? Or
Yeah, it's been, to be honest, it's been quite fun. I played club for 11 years. And so the people who were around when I was around are still around in the club scene.
yeah,
And so that part of it's also really cool, making those connections of like, oh my gosh, like you're back, but you're in a coaching role now. And seeing people who affected my life in a really positive way and them still doing that for some of these girls, for these recruits, it's really cool. When you have a passion for something, as you know, like you just, it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like it's a burden. It is something that you're so joyful that you get to do every day. And so, yeah, is it tiring being out there all day on the courts? Of course. But you know that this is what you're meant to be doing. And it's so fun, like you said, just to see this growth, to see this development. And now we get to start building relationships with these players who we've been watching for, months, if not years.
yeah. Tell me, and I give you a chance to pump up the program, or maybe more so your old or current head coach, maybe.
Mhm.
But I feel like we've mended fences. We built a bridge rather than. I'm just a lifelong Big Ten fan, and so it was hard for me to like. It's still hard for me to like Badger Nation, but
We're trying our best. I get it.
we're trying. And it's just really, he's a smart aleck and I am too. So it's easy for us to pick at each other. But I feel like it's, hey, you love me, but everybody else might not, right? But you go to war for me, I got you forever type deal, right? Like, hey, if you're my guy, you're going to love Kelly Sheffield. The rest of the outside world might not, and he doesn't care. Like, he's a Badger. Is that kind of Badger Nation where we got each other and that's the way it is?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, as someone who, I've been a Badger fan my entire life since 2000 and oh my gosh, maybe 5. And so for me, I didn't know Kelly Sheffield when I was about to come to college. And after getting off that first phone call with him, once Pete Waite left, it was like, oh, this is different. Like he has a mission. He has an idea of where he wants this program to go. We're going to do this together. And like, here we go, bring it. And I loved that mentality. I loved it. And so for me, I don't know, it's just so crazy because I know Kelly on such a personal level. Like, he's a total goofball, and just like the things he says and the references he makes half the time, like, I'm not old by any means, but he dates himself a little bit on some of these references. It's hilarious. And it's hilarious just to see him work through it. But no, as someone who went through the program, left and played professionally for a while, he is someone that has stayed in my corner every single day. And he's someone who I have talked to in like the darkest times of being overseas and working through just being on your own. I went through some really hard times, and he was always the one that I called. And I know that a lot of our players that go through here, the staff, we all feel the same way. And so, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm not sure where the perception comes from. Honestly, I just had an incredible experience. That's why I'm back now as a staff member. But, if that's how people view it, and it is what it is, so you can only change. And you can only change people's minds so much.
Right. But I'm like, I come from the college football world, right? And I'm like, well, you think Alabama and Auburn fans like love each other? And they're okay with it. Like, I don't think his job is for Nebraska fans to love him. His job is for Wisconsin to win, and it doesn't need to apologize. And I'm like, why does everybody they don't have to love each other? And you know what? They don't even have to act like they do.
No. And I think another part of it too, to bring up is like, at the end of the day, a lot of these are top programs. We're just trying to elevate the sport of volleyball. Like we are just trying to take this whole thing to the next level, right? Like how can we keep one-upping? How can we keep growing this game and making it bigger than it already is? Like at the end of the day, that's a massive, massive goal.
Yep. But see, him and I I guess it wouldn't be off the record then if I said it, but I'm like the Oriema Don Saley thing when they had beef, that does help elevate TV ratings, right? So what I have a hard time with is on the record how people truly feel, and then on the record like, oh, I really respect you, man, we're really good, but they're not. It's okay to have a bitter rivalry. It actually helps, right? Like to act like we don't love each other. We're bitter rivals. We don't have to, right? Because people are then the random person's like, oh, are those two teams that really, really don't like each other? And it's not the setter who doesn't love the other setter because she took the Olympic spot, and like, like it's okay. It's,
right.
You know what I mean? Like you're ultra competitive. I don't expect you to get along with everybody in volleyball.
I think what's fun, honestly, going back kind of to like the recruiting side of things, nowadays, how much interaction all of these girls get to have with each other with the NTDP and just the pipelines now. We didn't have that like as players when we were younger. There was like one team per year. You made it or you didn't. Sometimes your club didn't let you do it. Now the accessibility of it and them being able to hang out together and the bonds they create. And then they go to college and everyone is having fun after the matches, talking to each other. That's something super new that is a bit of an eye opener for me because it used to not be like that. Like me and Micah and me and Poulter, like we would play against each other, but I didn't know them. Like I had never played with them in any of the summers leading up to a national team. And so I don't know. It's just something really unique that kind of plays into the recruiting game now as well.
Yeah. Media wise, it's really boring. It is. It's like, oh, okay. But anyway, so I guess everybody loves each other. So that's what it is. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of support going around on social media for when people are attending, other camps or accomplishments and accolades. It's huge now. I'm sure you see it all over.
I'm like everybody. I mean, I like kids, right? Because I get to know them. I interview everybody. People fail, but you can be disappointed, right? When you lose a tough elite 8 match, that can burn for a year, and
for sure
disappointment and
hopefully builds a fire inside of you too,
Yeah, and that comeback story, right? And
100%
the fan base, you can really, really be upset. That's sports, right? And that you wait a whole year to come back, and I think it's okay to talk about that and have a storyline of those things, and
absolutely
act like it's totally okay. I'm like, man, I remember when teams lost, it hurt, right? Like it hurt, and it's okay to say that it really did. I don't know, but maybe it doesn't, and maybe it doesn't, and maybe that's okay. But so do you guys have a war room type thing? Do you wake up and do you guys get in the office, or is it everybody kind of, you have your recruits and you do your thing? Or
I think now it's just working through, right, what our messaging is leading into tomorrow, and making sure we're on the same page of kind of what we're doing, who we're contacting, and making sure everything is in order, right? Because it moves fast, of course, and you got to be ready to stay nimble. And it's good to have all of our kind of bases covered and know that tomorrow and the following days can really bring anything. So a bit of a war room setup, but just also like really, really specific as to what we're trying to hit in our messaging.
Right. Well, somebody asked, one of our followers emailed earlier and just said, hey, is it like because you had such a huge class now, the champion reclassifying? Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, she's so excited.
Well, yeah, I'm sure Badger Nation's pretty excited too to have that come in. But so with that class, that 26 class being gigantic for volleyball terms, 7, I believe, but then 26 or 27 being 0,
Mhm.
then does that mean this needs to be a big class again or not so much?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we're not planning on making a ton of calls.
Yeah.
And it's very specific
Yep.
people that we're going after. And especially now too, like, as you know, with the 5 for 5, like there's a lot of unknowns with that as well. And so every program is going through the same thing right now in terms of figuring out who's likely to stay, who's likely to leave, and really just working your way through that. Does that change a lot of our decisions? No.
Right. Well, and I mean, I like people are straight up and honest. That's been the basketball model. And the top programs are like, hey, we're banking on a 22-year-old who's proven rather than waiting for a 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not unfair. That's honest. And you still have a feeder program, but rather than take 5 projects, take 2, and then you grab 2 that are proven. And you can either be dishonest and act like you're not doing that and then do it, or just say, this is what a lot of the bigger programs do. And that's what happens in a lot of sports. So no, they, what has it been like? And I'll leave you on this, Coach, because I know you have a lot to do and I thank you.
Yeah, of course.
What has it been like managing the pro side, right? With doing that, because that's a commitment, this commitment, how has that balance been like for you?
Yeah, honestly, it's been easier than I expected, to be quite honest. The fall time, it's Badgers. I'm 100% locked in when it's preseason, in season, anything like that. So springtime, when we're in our spring season for the Badgers, that's our competition time for the pro side of stuff. And so that's when love takes priority, and I'm traveling and we're still playing. I'm still at practices in the afternoons with the Badgers, of course. But that is kind of where that dynamic comes. And both coaches with Matt Ferberger last year, of course, very convenient that I am coaching his daughter.
Yeah.
And so we had a really good thing going in terms of this is the priority in the fall versus this the priority in the spring. And then, of course, now with summer and fall, all Badger all the time.
Nice. Well, I'll let you go. And Coach talked to me, said I have to get to Milwaukee for the first serve. So
yes,
and I've been to everyone, so I will be in Milwaukee for
right on. All right.
Showcase. So I'll probably do you go to nationals then will you go to nationals at all for recruiting?
That is the plan. Yes, we are planning on going to nationals. Yep.
Well, I hope to officially meet you there. So
perfect.
Awesome. Well, good luck this week and great to meet you, everybody. Heck, you know her. Everybody knows her. So, Coach, great to meet you and
you as well.
Good luck this week, okay?
Yeah, thanks. Have a good one.
Take care. Take
Bye.
care. Go on, Carlini, everybody. No, guys, not run yet. No, say no. So that's 2 for 2. Yeah, and they're right. They're right on with what she said. It is. They're the exact same way where their camp was loaded. I know I would have guessed libero would be a position for them. They had a ton of top liberos there, and that's got to be a position need. I know setter, since we're talking about it, looks like it was a position need. Taimani, Anu was there. Let's call it what it is. I think that is their target. I had, I guess, made a prediction earlier. My belief is they go hard after Taimani, and if they don't get her, I think they pass this year, if I was calling it. But we move on. Jocelyn Samuels, we talked about them, 1 and 2, Alex Knox, and then Chloe Burbage, who just, we've talked about a lot. Love what she's doing. I think she's come on more and more and more. We talked about her day 1 of Husker camp, and then her amazing just day 2, and to watch her confidence grow, and then her throughout obviously her high school year, and then NTDP, and making the national team, and great year. Molly Monday, her first year with Tribe this year, and just great attitude. Smaller setter, but if you can bring it, you can bring it. she's one of those, they say, has great hands, and we'll take their word for it. So Molly Monday has worked her way into a position where I think several top schools are interested. Remember, we talked about this year at the beginning of the year how so many top programs need a setter. Now, that's one thing where the 5-for-5 rule possibly changes that. If some of them do not get their setter, okay, do they, and we're going to try, I don't know, the lighting in here isn't great today, but let's see if we can bring in our actual, no, too far away. Let me see if I can bring just the cam. No, whatever, centered in very good, but you can see a little bit with that red on our Prestige cam, our VB program Prestige cam. So we talked about that earlier this year, and potentially Nebraska was looking, Texas is looking, Pitt is looking, Penn State is next year, Louisville is in the market, Stanford potentially, but you just never know. A&M potentially, and it's their class. Michigan State, no. Kentucky is looking. Not sure with Indiana. Not sure. Florida, Creighton is looking, and then TCU, not sure. Vanderbilt is not sure. And then SMU has a freshman setter that they really, really like. But now the difference as we go away from that with all of those top programs, the difference as we go back to this list with a 5-for-5. Now, what they can do is they have that extra year. They have a setter that they like on the roster. They can hold them from another year, and they can potentially just go get a setter next year. There isn't the dire need. And the other thing is they can now bring in what they would have called a grad transfer one more year. They have one more year to wait. So it might not be as much of a need. Now, does that help the 28ths maybe? No, not as much, but that is the reality of, I guess, the 5-for-5. So keep moving. Molly Monday. Sydney Wissington out of Texas. Athletic, maybe between her and Ianu for the most athletic middle in the class. Wissington put up all kinds of numbers, I believe, as an outside for her high school team, but her PPV numbers, 10.0, 10.0 on her approach touch and her block touch, and big things that she did. So I don't know if she's tall enough to be a pin at the next level. Again, that just depends where she would look. But she's somebody that you could see, again, let me see if I can bring up, if we can bring up the cam again. If you can look down, if we're looking at, the orange, somebody like, I always defer to, maybe like West Virginia, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, even though I don't think she camped there, but Clemson in her area, South Carolina, LSU, Alabama, all those SEC, ACC schools in that range. Miami gets a lot of prospects for their camps. Texas Tech is another school that we'll talk about as far as having a lot of momentum camp-wise and getting a lot better recruits in lately. So Houston, they're down in the green a little bit more, but that's a school that with the Texas athletes possibly wanting to stay closer to home, Rice, Houston, Texas Tech, TCU, who I've talked about over and over, is the program that I really think is on the verge of being that consistent Elite Eight, Sweet 16 every single year, and giving Kansas all they can handle in the Big 12. Yeah, so it's another look with her in the Sydney Wisington again out of Texas. And then Charlie New, who we've talked about a lot this year, she's the one actually who had the multiple NTDP invites. And Charlie had, invites to BYU, another program we'll talk about when we do predictions here a little bit, but I know she was at BYU, and actually went to Wisconsin this weekend and got to learn from Coach Carlini a little bit. Maybe a backup plan if they wouldn't get Ianu and they're taking a setter for sure, could possibly be the answer there. But Charlie is as physical of a setter as there is in the class. And so she's been on a wide variety of camps. And we just talked about this. We just don't learn about the Texas club athletes. We just don't hear quite as much as about them. So not sure what she's thinking, but she could be a great fit. Again, any of the Texas clubs, or A&M, possibly thinking Baylor. Yeah, how could we forget? Baylor is actually the highest of any of the Texas clubs. So Charlie, Chloe Taylor on the West Coast with Wave has made the highest jump since the spring of any setter on our board. And, maybe other than Monday, I think Taylor might be the shorter. And then she was running a 6.2 this year. But I just loved her all spring. We were lucky enough. We got to see Wave 3 times back to back to back in qualifiers. And Taylor just looked really solid, which shouldn't surprise you at all with somebody who's playing at Wave. But she climbed about 35 PPV points, moved herself into 8th spot for our class list as well. And then Landry McCray, another Texas setter. And then Tatum Kelly out of First Alliance, been to, maybe 30 camps over the last 3 years. She has seen just about everywhere. And another school that quite a few of these guys have camped at, and somebody to look for, BYU. BYU, because we think they're going to have a very, very big class. So we apologize. We did have, and we just talked about this. It's crazy. And for these coaches to even attempt to try and come on is they're saints for doing it, because you can imagine having camp all week, trying to follow up, trying to get, prospects or recruiting coordinators reaching out, getting emails, trying to set up calls for tomorrow, all different time zones, and things do move fast. So They we've had a couple have had to cancel and move things around. So we're winging it right now a little bit as we go, and we'll wait until the next coaches pop on. But with that, we'll keep moving. I do want to talk as we go. I want to bring up a couple things for our new prospects. We will be launching probably shortly after, maybe during nationals, but you're going to see a change to the website, and we'll have all new player profiles. Actually, the entire website will be getting a makeover. We're excited about that, with what everything's going to look like, and the PPV scores, the class averages, everything will get a makeover. So we're not going to give any hints. We're just going to let you know that changes are coming. And we've been working actually for about a month and a half on the development of that. And so you're going to see a whole new VBAdrenaline with our own live TV and our own TV library and our live stream library, VIP interviews with coaches, prospects, alumni, events, and live shows. So a lot more coming up there, a lot more written interviews, written articles, and actually a section for free content like we've been doing this week. So there's free content, there'll be written articles, and there will also be paid VIP videos, live streams, and more. So that'll be coming up, and probably hoping to go live with that right after nationals. And then our top combines. So our top test combines end in July, and they're actually open to, heck, college athletes can come and do the combine if you want, because they're scored based on the averages of Division I. They're based on the 90th percentile of Division I athletes, and they're going to be a large portion of how we do our rankings going forward. So next year when we do this show, a large portion of how we do our rankings will be taken from those top test combines. And we're taking the, we talked about Wisconsin. And so we looked at the setting percentage, of Charlie Fearbringer, right? And so we looked at the Big Ten setters and their averages and their accuracy and the hitting percentage. And we asked some of the top programs in the country for the last 3 years. And we found out not exactly, but we found out a lot of what they actually look for when they recruit. And we put that into what we think is a really solid combine. And athletes from all around the country can come in, and everybody will be evaluated the same way with the same scoring system. We also are going to be bringing in a Division II PPV chart, because a lot of athletes, if I can bring up our recruiting prestige, a lot of athletes, when it gets to right at the bottom of the orange, and I again apologize, we had to shave memory. Our file was too big on our original PowerPoint, so we had to take off our PPV board. But right at the bottom of the orange is kind of where we see like Division II, Division I athletes overlapping. So some of the top athletes in Division II that are getting Division II, Division I offers are kind of in that low orange, high green range. And so what we've been looking at and researching for a while is where's that crossover? And so we're going to have a Division II PPV chart and a Division I, and then there will actually be a crossover for those athletes that are probably getting looks at both. And we want to help promote the Division II recruiting as well, the Division II recruits, Division II schools, etc. And the combine will show that information as well. And so we hope to bring that information to those athletes. So we'll start pushing that as soon as we get through this June 15th and we get these 28s off and running. We'll start sending more information out on that. But we're really excited, and it's something we've worked for about 3 years on. And we're finally excited to get the first events off and running at the end of July. So you'll hear a lot more info on that coming up. So as we go back to this, we move on with the setters. The opposites, okay? And the opposites have some very multi-skilled athletes. We've talked a lot about this, Megan Hodges, and I think she could have her own position. Hodges, number one, play middle, play right side. She play a combination of both. Come up with a position where it's really nameless. Maybe she's a middle. Maybe she's an opposite. Maybe she's both. Maybe it depends on the matchup. You don't know what she is. She's that versatile and that terminal that college just train her as a volleyball player and have her on the court for whatever best serves your program's need, but have her on the court whatever's the best matchup serving your program, and then let the Olympic coaches figure it out someday. And then I think Sarah Floyd at the end, what she does, and that TAV athlete, and just how solid she is, 6 rotations, sets her ahead in just the overall level of competition. But Taylor Freeland does some great things. Her physicality is really impressive, but I think in the end, it was maybe just that competition level that Floyd's had for so many years. But don't get us wrong, Freeland is very, very close and very, very talented. Then there's Molly McGovern out of the Kansas City area. And then Mesa Jamison out of the Twin Cities. Next was Faith Gandy. And Faith Gandy had wide variety of camps. Faith, I know, camped, I believe, at Mizzou. I think she camped at Kentucky, to name a couple. Lana Frelix, I know she either sick or slightly injured and missed a couple of the camps this last week, but somebody we don't know a ton about, but did all the USA Volleyball, did all the NTP stuff, and highly recommended. I haven't seen her a ton myself, so she's kind of stayed where she's been at all year. I just don't have a ton to tell you. Then Sophia Grounds, and then Tegan Leckler. Now, Sophia is awesome, from Hawaii, and you want to talk big, physical hammer of an arm. That's Sophia, and she has come so far and has gained so much attention. We talked about her at the December, January NTDP, and she is just a monster swinging at the ball, and her termination rate, but she's got quick feet. She's not slow. She's got some agility. Now, obviously, it's got to get better to play at the level that I think she's going to go. But her block, she gets up. Her touch is plenty high enough right now. It's going to have to get better, and she's going to have to get quicker, but it's not like she's super slow for her physicality and her size. And she's kept getting better and better. And so she showed that improvement for the spring, right? The spring NTDP, she was even better. And I think that's what coaches want to see, is that step improvement. And she showed it when she showed back up in the spring and at her qualifiers, and impressed more and more coaches. And she moved up. Leckler out of Milwaukee Sting, just early reports that we heard, loving being an opposite. She just didn't want to play setter. And she had done that for her club team. Great. But like I had reported, I don't know, whenever during the grind, you better want to be a setter if you're going to be a setter. And you can maybe turn yourself into an opposite, but you got to want to be a setter if they're going to put you at setter in college. And she just didn't want to be a setter. And she, one of the reports was that, the concern was, does she have enough pop, enough power for not training all the time as a pin? Yes, passed that test at a couple camps this last week. No concerns there. Fresh legs, lots of explosion. Have to go back and look at her exact approach. Has updated her profile well, especially as an opposite. But she's one who I think when, if she just trains there now with club, by next club season, so by January, you will see a marked difference. And I think Leckler's got a chance to move up to the top 5 in this class at that position. Really, really good. And then Charlotte Patton as number 10. So Leckler's the one I would watch at that position in this class. And then the liberos. And this is a very, very deep, very, very deep class. And there are so many of them that I don't know how they recruit them. But Kala Hafner she's special. And a lot of coaches have said that she's the best prospect at that position that the U.S. has had. And her camp tour would have told you that. Bella Osborne, on the U.S. team, we have her and Bridges basically identical PPV wise. And really, if you've listened to us, the PPV doesn't matter as much as the level, and we have them both as silver. We have Nowling and Penrose. I've talked about that. Again, Nowling is not very far behind Bridges in our estimation. They're just both happen to be from Nebraska, and Bridges gets a lot of attention. Nowling finally got invited to an NTDP session in the spring. And so that level of competition maybe hasn't gotten invited to the big camps that Bridges gotten invited to last year. But Nowling did really help her team to that national title. That's when I saw her a lot last year and was really impressed with her. Izzy Penrose, again, we have her and Nowling on the same level, but you've heard a lot more about Penrose. Why? Arizona Storm and TDP. But again, I could be way off, but I love Nowling. We'll see what happens. Penrose, very, very solid. She's been another one who's been to a ton of camps. So we'll see. I expect her to go to, one of those top level programs. Chloe Ritchie, right there. Again, I don't know how you separate these guys. Broyle, Ritchie, Penrose, Nowling. I have them. Benjamin. You have the two. Both of them, both the A5s on their first and second team that will go to top Power 4 programs. So again, the depth in that club is incredible. We need to do a series just on the depth at A5. It's amazing. Coaches are going there just, to watch practice because there's 3-4 teams with P4 talent on it, on their fours team. Lola Lonkar, again, NTDP, USA volleyball experience, and just because there's so many bros, you don't hear a ton about her individually. And then Morgan Neslony, out of Texas, and just made the all tournament team at Triple Crown summer tournament. So, and then, hey, maybe we should talk about the money makers, the outsides. And again, these are the ones getting the attention, getting all the talk in this class. Just maybe not the overall class depth that you've seen and that you'll see next year with the 29s, but they still have the star power, and you're going to hear the most about Maya Bagu, TAV, and there's a lot of action going on for her. Very, very impressive at Texas camp this week, but she did the tour, SMU, Texas A&M, like I said, Texas. So she did the whole, has been everywhere she needs to be. Janiyah Burridge right now is a very hot name. Again, touched 10'8", out of Forza in California, but isn't the sixth rotation player that we talked about with the others, as the others are. But 10'8's 10'8. Taylor Johnson, out of Skyline, and again, just doesn't, because she's on the same team with all the stars on TAV, isn't getting your maybe national press, but or excuse me, Taylor Johnson at Skyline is, again, in that Texas area. So you have so many stars in Texas, but there's plenty of interest in her, and she can definitely hold her own. Actually, her height and her length, depending on the program, she has year one potential with her. And then Leilani Lamar, you just don't hear about her, because of the team she's on at A5. I thought she might have been the best outside at Nebraska's Dream Team camp last year. I think she might end up at Nebraska. To be honest, I thought that's who the coaches were the most impressed with last July, if I'm being honest. And that was just my take on everything. You just don't hear about her. Trinity Johnson, the other outside at TAV, playing with Abagu. Again, very, very good. Bryn Walcott is the one you're all looking at and being like, what the heck? Who? Sudden impact up in Washington. And I just know who likes her. And number one, arm power and velocity. That's all I'm going to say. And I just know what I know. And this is the difference between high school rankings and college projection. All right. And we talk about high ceiling, right, and training that you get at different places. That is, that's the difference with Walcott. And, there were top 15 programs who didn't know about her up until 2-3 weeks before camp week. And but there were programs who they just, for whatever reason, they didn't know. So I'm really interested to see who actually is looking at her. And again, somebody who is hurt by the window being so early, who would have benefited from a later verbal, and we'll wait and see what happens. But she will be a different player in 18 months for sure. But just mark that down, and that's why we have her much, much higher than anybody else who's probably saying who right now. And I did the first time I watched her as well, because she doesn't look the same as some of the other athletes. But again, they're not projecting today. Coaches are projecting when they're 21 and what kind of volleyball player they'll be, not what their stats look like as a sophomore in Washington State high school play. And so we keep going. Chase Courtney has made a huge jump, and she is a very, very hot name right now. Just interested to see if she leaves California and explores other places, or if one of the Cali teams or West Coast Big Ten teams scoops her up. But she is as hot as any prospect that we have right now. So, and then we finished up Catherine Mitchell, another one, Metro. Again, doesn't quite look like a P4 college volleyball player right now, but you ask any pro scout and they're like, love her. She is an efficient 6 rotation outside hitter that can help 90% of the teams in Power 4. Sadie Bello, just an athlete who gets up, and then actually Nora Hollis should have been from that. But okay, we'll keep going on. I'm going to take this real quick break we're waiting for, and again, I apologize. We had a couple of little coaching changes and schedules, and again, that's what happens. That's what happens when we do this, but we appreciate them even trying. But we'll leave this up for just a second and come back. I'm going to use the restroom really quick. We'll come back and we'll go through some programs with some heat heading into June 15th. So I'll be back in about 1 minute and we'll pick back up. All right, hey everybody, back real quick. Sorry about that. We edited the slides from last year. We didn't get the names, so we didn't get the names changed. So I apologize. the logos are right, but the names underneath are wrong. So I apologize for that. But we had the school names from last year's slideshow and the logos from this year. So we'll go ahead and pull that up for you, but we'll talk through. And so we want to go through now. And so just apologize. I did have that and had a couple people point that out. So I appreciate it. But this is the order of last year. So again, the schools underneath are the schools from last year. And the logos are correct. Our order of schools with heat, and we lost a little flame, but we'll just go with it. So these are the programs that we feel, and a lot of this is just based on a lot of our player profiles and them reporting where they were going to camp, us following camp week, the last 10 days or so, of where a lot of the top 150 prospects were camping at. And again, it's not Nebraska, Texas, Penn State. We get that, right? They're going to get their athletes every year. Okay. They're going to get their athletes every year. It's other programs that are building to try and catch those programs is what we're interested in following. All right. And as we bring up, okay, we go back to the Prestige Cam. All right. And as we go back to the Prestige Cam, it's moving up levels. Okay. As you can see, right, we're trying to move up levels, and we post this for our subscribers on VBAdrenaline. And I know people that really don't understand it kind of joke around and give us a hard time. But when you understand the prestige level, what it says is athletes get a PPV, right? And then these are the 2-year average of recruiting classes, right, according to our PPVs. Now, we know it's not perfect, okay? We understand that it's not perfect, but it's our evaluation system, and at least we're transparent with it, right? Okay, so at least we're transparent. We put it out there. And like I've said, every year we take a survey of coaches, and the coaches can't agree on how to do to evaluate recruiting classes either. Okay, so if we ask 10 coaches, what's the best way to rank recruiting classes? They wouldn't agree either. So somebody had to step up and just do it. We can't wait like possibly other people and just say, oh, we know here is who the fans like, so we'll just automatically put them at number 1, right? We can't do that. We try and, again, take bias out of it. So we have a formula, and as soon as somebody commits or somebody's PPV score changes, we don't even know. It's just the computer changes it. And this is an average, okay? And we found errors in it, and like the penalty, we used to have that you had to sign 3 athletes in a class, or there was a 10% deduction or penalty. And then we realized that the days of having 3 athletes in a class might be gone. So that might not deserve a penalty. So we move that down to 2. Okay. The problem is when Wisconsin goes out and has a mega class of 7, but they have 1 walk-on or 2 walk-on type athletes, if you will, and they have 3 elite athletes, well, if we're going to stick to our theory, that brings that class down. And then somebody like, well, just for example, UCLA last year, they have one very, very good athlete and then a second athlete who's pretty good. That average comes out and then they're higher than Wisconsin. Well, what do? Well, we can't change the rule just for that one situation. And so, but we stick to our theory on that. And so we do that. We'll come back. And so what we're doing when we look at the teams that have momentum, okay, when we look at the teams that have momentum on there, we're looking at teams that we're seeing a lot of prospects attend their camp. Okay, coaches that we know work very hard in recruiting. They maybe worked hard at other places, and they're doing the little things. They're putting the time in because, trust me, other coaches were asked to be on the show tonight, but they didn't want to take an hour away from family, or maybe they just don't like me. That happens too. And they just didn't return the email or the text. Or they just don't want to take an hour out of their day to do that. Other coaches do all the little things, and sometimes it takes all the little things to be good at recruiting, even talking to people that you might not like. And so those are the little programs that we kind of talk about when we look at, are they doing little things to move up the chart? Right. And so with that, that's just a great segue for our next guest. And that's going to be Keith Smith, who's the new head coach here at Utah State. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
We're awesome. Looks like great weather in Utah.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty perfect. I was thinking the UVs for me need to be a little bit lower than Dave, who you had a couple days ago on here, because I'll get a little burnt before I get tan, but it's like pretty perfect. And then I got a beautiful mountain in our background right now, so I like that too.
Yeah, the setting for you there at campus is beautiful. But talk about how has since taking over, basically at semester time, how has the transition of being a first-time head coach gone for you?
Yeah, so I took over and I got hired 2 days before the semester started here. So it was kind of like right in time. I got here the Tuesday of the week. So I've been here all semester. Beginnings are always a little bit messy, but every few weeks, it just felt like the process and everything was kind of getting a little more organized and way better. Getting the staff kind of organized helps a ton, as you know. The portal in December crushed the program. All the starters, for the most part, left. So I spent a lot of this semester adding, and we got a lot of really high-level transfers, starting with Sophie Scott and Lauren Bodley, both from Power 4 schools. And then we got someone from the Czech Republic, all throughout the semester. And then we added, as you probably saw, a bunch in May. So once we got through the roster part, I think we're pretty happy with the whole semester.
Yeah. Talk quick before we go back into your program. Give everybody a rundown. I know the last two stops with Auburn and then TCU, but were you at anywhere before Auburn?
Yeah, so I actually coached men's college volleyball for 4 years at Grand Canyon University. That's where I met Dave Hunt, because he was at Pepperdine at the same time. I was the assistant there, though. So I was 4 years there, and before that I started actually at Providence College in the Big East, and that was my first full-time job. So those are the 5 places I've been in Division I.
So, and then David would say, all the best recruiters come from men's volleyball, he would say.
Well, we're both pretty biased towards the men's volleyball. I think there's so much awesome that comes from there, but I think there's also some pretty high-level people that never touch men's volleyball either. Yeah,
I know. I think you need to raise the net like 18 inches personally.
If you watch the VNL right now, man, sometimes it feels that way for sure.
I know. Well, if you know Ben Josephson.
Yeah, pretty
you
well.
Talk like you were from Canada. You and Ben got the same little line going.
I think my ability to handle the sun probably is a lot more like a Canadian than it is a Southern Californian like I am. I grew up in a 30 minutes from the beach, but now I need to be in the shade and enjoy it. But I like to be sun adjacent.
Well, maybe you've just been copying his crazy scientist, offensive mind, and you've been spending so much time with him, maybe that you just picked up his dialect.
We actually, so I've done what I think like 12 to 15 now NTDPs, and I've been his roommate 4 times. So probably a little bit of that. And he's awesome. I love talking to him, and I definitely have stolen quite a bit from him.
Well, for a hockey guy, he moved to the perfect place. Awesome.
Well, he must have just known it was the year of USA hockey. He just knew it was coming, and Canada can't hang with us anymore. So
I know. So talk about, because when you're at Auburn, I mean, and what a great staff that was there, at that time. And I remember reaching out to you then because the camps there, I mean, you could just see the talent level increasing. And I talked to you, when we were at NTDP one year, and I just said that's kind of my cheat code as I look at all our player profiles, and I'm like, hey, I kind of get a vibe for programs that are heating up based on it. You can just see more kids are attending camps. And for programs that are trying to climb the ladder, I think that's the first step, is they need to get athletes on campus. And it's almost like they fail for a year or two, but they need to get them there to start like nibbling.
Yeah.
And then and then eventually they'll bite. I don't know, it's my fishing analogy, but you don't just go to a brand new school and then all of a sudden all the better prospects just go. You got to go because you meet a coach, whether it's NTDP or they win a big tournament match or something. So they go, and then maybe they're close, but they don't commit because they're still unproven, whatever. But I saw that with you guys at Auburn, and then you went to TCU, and yes, Jason, they had success, but all of a sudden last year or 2 years ago, you guys at TCU, boom, huge class, huge camp while you were at TCU. And so when you got the Utah State job, I'm like, this guy recruits, this guy does things right. And then I love meeting your staff on the circuit, but also you struck out with a couple big fish that you didn't get as coaches. And I love that because you swung for the fences with every person you offered as an assistant coach. And I'm like, this guy thinks big. Like, this guy is going to be, this guy is going to be successful.
I don't see any reason why not to just try to go big. I think 3 of my offers became associates in the Power 4 that I was trying to bring here. Yeah. So I'll take all the credit in the world. It has nothing to do with them. It's all me offering them. Just kidding. My view on life is like, why not try to achieve something great? Like when I was going through the interview process here, the program that Rob built at Utah State was really awesome. And I want to keep it going. I don't want to just do what Rob's done. He won 4 of the last 5 championships here. So the reality to me is Pac-12 championships are kind of just expected to win a few every so often. I want to go to Sweet 16s. Like, I want to go to Elite 8s. I want to play in December a lot longer. In order to do that, we got to dream big. And if some people are a little scared, I think, to try to achieve and worried about failing. But if I'm fail at making a Sweet 16, I think we're going to do pretty well in the Pac-12.
Right. Yeah. Now I'm looking at the Prestige Board, and I have, because I'm in Summit League, we live in Summit League territory, and I might have slipped up. I might have got the adrenaline going one day, and I picked USD, not your guys' USD out there, but our USD Coyotes. Yeah. I might have got the adrenaline going one day, and I picked the Coyotes to be the first mid-major to go to a Sweet 16, even though USD went to the Final Four, so they would be considered a mid-major, yes?
Yeah, and then Cal Poly did it last year. I think there's
never mind.
I did some research. I don't remember the exact number, but it's essentially once out of every 4 years there's a Power a mid-major that goes. That's not Creighton. Creighton has kind of done it time and time again. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk to Brian a little bit, and he punches you if you call them that. So don't do that.
Yeah, I get that, man. But he's kind of the same as me. Like, why try to not be the best? He wants to see himself up there, and the goal is to be up there every year for us at some point.
Well, I don't think. I mean, so what do you think? Is this like? Do you look at this as a rebuild? Like 1 year, like PJ Fleck said back in the day, year zero, it doesn't count on your record because you had to replace everybody, or like, do you give yourself a year of grace and wipe it off, or is this go? Like you had a great year in the portal replacing, let's go.
I mean, assuming health, the expectation doesn't ever change. Like we should be competing for Pac-12 championship, and like I said, I want to go to the second weekend of the NCAAs, and once we get there, I want to go to the third weekend and make that Final Four. I don't think anything changes. The goal is never changing. And if we don't achieve it this year, move on to 2027. It's the same big lofty goals. And if we don't achieve it in 27, move on to the next year. It's the same big lofty goals. And then once we hit that bar, we move it up and nothing changes. I think our team is really good. Emily has done a great job, and that team she has at Colorado State is going to be really, really hard to beat. But I think me and my staff put together a roster of awesome humans that are really good at volleyball. And I think with the plan we have put together for building our culture in August, because we're going to have 10 new players of our 17 that have never been here. And then if you include the freshmen, it's up to 13. So we have, I think, only 4 returners on our team. So culture is going to be a priority for us. And I think the talent's there. And if we can connect, we're going to be pretty good. And we got a tough non-conference schedule. I think probably the toughest in the country, that I'm excited that we can hopefully announce here soon. But we'll be battle tested into conference and get a chance to develop and get better throughout the year. And if we can be in December, hopefully we can do some damage.
What is it? Because, I mean, University of Utah is a really strong tradition. BYU, obviously, and now Utah State, not now, but recently Utah State playing good volleyball. And it's not like there's several million people in the state. So what's going on in Utah that has these 3 really solid programs?
Yeah, I mean, that's also, we had 5 schools in the state of Utah competing to make the NCAA tournament last year. So you also got to add Weber. Jeremiah's done a really good job. They've been good there. UVU and Utah Tech, they were battling to make the conference tournament or win the conference. And so we have a lot of really high level volleyball in the state. It starts with, there's a lot of really good club volleyball in the state of Utah. And I think too, the ones that are in Utah want to stay in Utah often, and that helps you get to keep kids for year after year for the most part. And then we're also 30 minutes from the Idaho border, and we get a lot of really awesome small town Idahoans, if you will, and they just come work hard, and they have no entitlements. And I think a lot of it has just been a lot of good volleyball regionally. So hopefully we're trying to still dominate and be really good recruiting in our region, with adding 1 or 2 pieces outside the region to help us kind of go to that next level.
Well, do you happen to know quite the storyteller named Danny Bauer? Do you know?
I know Danny very well. Yeah.
I know. I met that young man this fall, and my life's never been the same.
Yeah, he's the best. I actually just was at the Idaho Crush Camp. So I saw him 24 hours ago. And I actually, when I was at Auburn, we recruited one of his daughters there. So I got to meet them in that process. Yeah. So we got Eden there.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want to talk about salt of the earth. That's pretty dang good family right there. So
it's just a really awesome family. They've been great. We've loved them.
So we will be out there. I don't know when you guys start the season, but the 28th, we're doing our second top combine at Idaho Crush. So we're doing one at Premier, and then we're doing the second one. I'm flying to Boise, then renting a pack mule, and I'm pack muling up or whatever. However I get to Nampa. No, I know how I get to Nampa, but we're going to Nampa and doing the combine at with those guys and staying with the Bowers for a day or two, and then
awesome.
I
think it'll take you fishing.
No, I can't bring the but I might come back. Who knows? No, I think this will be too. I think this will be too quick to do it. But I'm staying. Who knows what trouble we'll get into? Who knows? But we're gonna do it because they're due. Caroline does a camp with some of their friends from another country, so they do. And so they're gonna do the top test combine as well. So.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. But anyways, he has helped me. They're just a great family. So as most people in volleyball know. But so will that be your plan? Is it really important that Utah to start in and then work out? Is that important for the university or for you, or is it wherever you can grab kids? Is that how every college has to kind of do it now?
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit of both. The best programs in the history of any sport have all recruited locally. So if you remember the U from ESPN 30 for 30, they talked about the state of Miami and they just recruited there. That's how they became good. So I want to do really well in the state of Utah. But the other reality is I can't drop below a certain bar. And if I have to, then you got to go out of state. And my bigger priority is recruiting the right people in terms of personality. The volleyball skills are so easy to identify and know, like, hey, this kid's a really good setter. She moves really well. We can develop her. Finding the right people that want to compete and really fit our culture, I think, is my biggest priority and what's going to help us, I think, be really successful long term. So we're going to value competition. We're going to value people that are really, really intentional with what they do, awesome humans. When you call the recruiting coordinators, they literally can't say anything but good things. And kind of like you said, salt of the earth people, and also willing to come in and compete, because the reality is we're not catching up to the teams that make the Sweet 16 without working harder than them. So it's going to take people that want to work really hard and achieve lofty goals and aren't scared of saying lofty goals and maybe failing at them once or twice before we achieve them.
Amen, man. I love that. I've been put it out there. You want to be great, and who cares? I mean, because you're going to be, if you are someone who wants to change something and do something great, you're going to be the first one who's disappointed. Who cares about everybody else making fun of you? You're going to be disappointed if you don't achieve that, right? Like, and those other people that want to make fun of you are losers anyways, if they're going to make fun of you. Right? Like,
yeah, I'd rather feel like a failure for not achieving high goals than feel like I achieved something for something a little mediocre. But I think again, I think this place is pretty special too. I don't know how much you know. We've one of the things as I was doing research through my process, like, the fan attendance here is pretty unbelievable. We play in front of a 95% capacity average in our facility. Now, it's not a huge facility. It's under 2,000, but like, it is packed. There's 400 plus students alone, and loud, and they call it Club Estes. So I think that's another thing that's helped Utah State kind of grow and grow and grow. The fan base here is a little bit different than maybe the other non-BYU, non-Utah schools in our state. And I'm excited for us to kind of keep going with that.
What about I'm just a rivalry guy. What are the rivalries like? Because it's so competitive, passionate. I know about the football rivalries in the state, and they get pretty intense. Volleyball, in a respectful way, but is it intense because there are so many local kids playing against each other? I mean, is it heated? Like, hey, you're competing?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, like, a lot of the LDS girls that do choose to come here, because we do have quite a few. A lot of them grew up wanting to go to BYU, and maybe we're told no, so that puts a little chip on the shoulder. I think you want to be the best team in the state always. Even our stature here, I want to be better than BYU. I want to be better than Utah. I have a lot of respect and like for those two head coaches. So there's no actual genuine rivalry, but of course I want to beat them. I want to also Colorado State, Texas State is in our conference. Sean's awesome. Like, I think there is always a little bit there, but I want to focus more on just like, can we just be the best version of ourselves? And the reality is, though, our girls definitely want to beat up on BYU and Utah every year if we get the opportunity.
Well, and I think it's a
Can't blame
competitive
them.
sport. It's okay,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Yeah,
That doesn't mean you get in a fist fight afterwards. It just means you want to, like, a little bragging rights, right?
for sure. And the reality is, a lot of them are friends. They've known each other for a long time, and so they want to beat their friends. Which same.
Right. I'm in a fantasy football league with some of my college friends, and we want to beat each other. Competition is what makes you get up on those hard days. You know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's okay. You can, and I think I like my college friends. I mean, you can like somebody and compete. It's okay.
Totally. And that's exactly what it is. There's definitely a lot of genuine Alex Bauer is there, and I've known the Bauer family. I got her sister. Like, I have no ill will towards anyone. But when we play them in Provo next year, it's going to be pretty fun if we can knock them off. And but it's just good volleyball. That's the best part about being in the state. Like, a lot of genuinely really awesome humans that coach in the state. I've really enjoyed getting to know all of them, but also a lot of really high level coaching as well, where the volleyball is really, really good. And again, we had 5 teams, I believe, make the NCAA tournament last year. Multiple make the second round as well. So I think we have to have one of the deepest states in terms of college volleyball.
Well, and you guys you're talking about your fan base, but BYU and Utah have really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you don't want to help them because you were just saying how much you can't stand either of those coaches. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Bulletin board,
that
come
is
on.
definitely not what I said. No, I mean, I think the fan bases here in Utah, though, across the board, have proven to be good in any sport for the most part, right? I know we're lucky. We're a little bit away from Salt Lake, so our fans are very, very passionate and loyal, and we're not in competition with BYU or Utah with fans, which is awesome. But I think there's been a lot of school pride in our state, which probably helps to the success here and to the passion and the atmosphere being awesome. And
I'm telling you, been a couple of years, but I went to Penn State at Pitt, and they had to move it into the basketball arena, and seeing those fans come through that little tunnel they had, and it actually getting me juiced up like a basketball game was okay. Like, getting that feeling of the marching, the pep band, and like, it's so much better than music on a loudspeaker and fans actually doing some chants and stuff. Was like, this is okay. Like, it's okay if somebody misses a serve because the students are kind of chirping at them. Like,
for sure,
you'll take that. But what's does your staff, do they go into do you have like a war room, or how do you guys approach tomorrow? I'm guessing maybe it's a little bit more drawn out, not the instant, deadline stuff. But how do you guys approach tomorrow?
I'm gonna do one little story for you on what you talked about with the fan base. So we got a transfer from UVU who came, and so she played against us, and our student section is called the Herd. And they do a really good job researching. So if you put something out there on social media, somebody comments something, they're going to freaking find it. They're going to get a cut out of it. They're going to have it. And they were chirping her. And she was like, it was the worst. And talking about her boyfriend, whose brother actually played on the basketball team up here at Utah State at the time. And just like a bunch of stuff. And she's like, Keith, it sucked. I hated it. It was really, really hard. And it makes you, she's like, I didn't make any mistakes, but I felt like maybe I went a little bit worse on my serves, and like it affected her. And so she's like excited to get that on her side. And when she crushes the ball, they get hype a little bit more instead of on her. So anyway, just wanted that, you were talking about the fan base. It just makes the college sports better, especially when it's respectful and fun.
I'm going to look them up and follow them. Whatever makes you look like a better coach, you'll take that, right?
If we can earn a couple points and it's our student section, I will for sure take it, as long as they don't cross any lines. But our group is awesome. I'll actually send you when I get off a couple pictures because we have two facilities. We play in the arena, especially against the big Utah schools. And I think last year they got 5,000 people in that game. And it's just packed. It's cool. And again, you can see the student section in our normal gym is like literally as close as I am to the screen right now to the servers, which is pretty cool. But to your question about tomorrow. Yeah. So we have an awesome conference room for volleyball in our facility. That is great. So that will be kind of home base. We'll kind of be there talking, and then we will go, if we have a call or anything set up, we'll go kind of take it in our offices, which is 20 feet away. But we'll have home base kind of set up where we can talk, figure stuff out. But for the most part, our plans are kind of already set, and usually within day 1 and 2, you don't really have to adjust too much. It's the next week after that where things start happening other places, and random commitments happen. And what I have tended to see is when 1 or 2 people start committing, it leads to pressure felt by other 16-year-olds. And so they feel like especially if one of their teammates commit. So for all you recruits and families listening, just know, like, whatever your process is, like, live your process. Everyone is going to be different, even if you play the same position on the same teams, even if you're getting recruited by the same team. So yeah, that's my just one advice and piece for everyone.
Yeah. Yep. It's day 1 and it's going to be a crazy year, and easy for some old timer to sit here and say that it's not your life. I probably wouldn't have listened either, but it's, I
sure wouldn't have.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's like in football, they commit so they can decommit, so they can decommit. And then the third time you're like, okay, we serious now? Like, at least we don't do that chaos, totally. Yeah. But it's, there's so many changes, you got to roll with it. But well, if you guys, if you get the staff together in the war room, at me with a little picture of the staff in the war room, and we'll retweet it or Instagram it for you. So I'll let you go, and then hopefully get to say hello to you in Indianapolis maybe in a couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Please do. And thank you for having me. This was great.
Oh, buddy, I will talk to you anytime, man. You're a class act, and I appreciate what you've tried to teach me about volleyball at those NTD sessions. So you keep keep trying to teach.
Are you coming this summer? Probably. It's right in that time, so it might be hard because I'll be leading, I think, the U19 age group this year. So I'll be getting.
I'm in negotiations to try and get my media pass back. So we'll when that happens, I hope so. But we watch, and I like seeing it. But I think we're gonna do it. And I still have that dang fundraising job, my day job. Yeah. And I do like 52 or 45 fundraisers in August. So it's tough. But it's just, for me, I love it because I finally got what you guys talked about, where you talked about, it's called developmental program, right?
Yeah.
And I got where you saw a kid as a 15-year-old, and then I keep bringing up Ellie Randolph, who you can talk about as an NTB kid, but I saw her this year in December, and I got it, like light bulb, right? Like, this was a kid who struggled big time. And then she came back a year later, and I saw the development, right? I saw this kid who took a huge leap confidence-wise and strength-wise. And I'm like, that's what they've been telling me.
It's the best. Yeah. We have my first one back when I came to the women's side. We had I was with the younger group. And now the group some of them were freshmen last year. Some of them are going to be seniors in high school next year. And it's just so fun to watch. Get to see them when they're so young, and the development. It's what we do this for, and it's really because we all choose to be away from our families, and it's still worth it every time because it's really fun. People want to get better, and they're awesome people for the most part. We're pretty fortunate, the sport we're in. But going back to your job, if you have some extra money in the fundraising, feel free to send it to Utah State Volleyball, please, and send it our way in your fundraising job. We'll gladly take any donations.
Well, you guys got 45 minutes, and you need to make $20,000. I got a guy. It's the easiest fundraiser you've ever done in your life, Keith. I'll tell you what. call me.
Well,
So
yeah.
take care, my friend. Hey, Brett, Keith Smith, Utah State, watch for them. They're going to do big things. And, like you said, he can't stand those other coaches in Utah. So some big rivalries out there. I'm kidding.
Last time, everyone in Utah has been awesome. I've loved you guys. Thank you guys. And Darren, thanks for having me.
That's right. Take care, my friend. We'll see you
Bye.
soon, bud. All right. All right. I got us caught back up. That was a good job. And now I know a guy that I can get fired up pretty easy talking about, I can get under this guy's skin in about 2 questions. So we're going to roll right into it. We're going to bring on the Creighton staff here, and Brian Rosen and Izzy Ashburn. And I mean, you want to talk about the best setter in Wisconsin history. We're going to bring on Izzy Ashburn. So guys, how's Omaha today?
I mean, it's beautiful. I was grilling a little while ago. I mean, just turn on ESPN actually right now. You can see Omaha.
What was you say? You guys didn't get caught up in the World Series traffic?
No, I was there. I was at the game. What was the first day? Friday. I was at the first game Friday with West Virginia and Troy. Watching from home today. So yeah, just enjoying the weather, enjoying Omaha.
I thought you were saying you were grilling on ESPN right now. I was like, I gotta turn that on.
Good. I'm not. It was actually the Food Network. All
right, my phone keeps flipping.
That's good. Izzy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm in trouble. These 2 dogs are like, these calls don't usually last this long. We have a grill type day here too in Sioux Falls, and they're a little upset we've been on this darn computer all day. But hey, we gotta pay the bills. So what, Izzy? I want to start with you because I asked your fellow alumni, what's it been like now that you're a full year on the bench? What was the year like strapping yourself in and not being a player? What was it like being the coach and not the player?
Yeah, it was really fun getting to see this team come together and go through just really hard stuff together and get so rewarded in the end with the wins and the celebration experience and going through just difficult times on court, off court, school, navigating life. Like, it was such an incredible and like life-changing experience for me throughout college. And I feel like I grew so much as a person and an athlete, like in relationships with coaches, the way I communicate with other people. I came in the least extroverted person to ever come through Wisconsin volleyball history, and I feel like I've grown a lot in that. So just seeing them kind of go through life and go through this incredible experience and get to be a part of it and be somebody that can relate to it and kind of be a little bit of a bridge between a coach and player. It's been awesome. I mean, I'm very tight with the team, and I'm just so excited to see them get the opportunity to do the same thing that I got to go through.
Well, you came back for year 2, so I mean,
yeah. So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Well,
and Coach Rosen, I mean, congrats on a successful year 1. Sometimes moving that 3 feet over is, I mean, you can probably attest. There's a lot more to it than people think sometimes.
Yeah, it's the stress changes for sure. The pressure changes just a little bit, but thankfully for me, the people stayed the same. Obviously, like, we didn't have any players leave, and so that was great. Our staff stayed together, and then we were able to add Izzy, and she's just jumped right in and added like so much to our program and our staff. And so I think that consistency was huge for us as a staff, was really big for our team, and then obviously on the court, we're able to kind of keep it going as well.
Yeah. We talk about we refer to our program prestige board and Z-Man there was helping me put it together the last day or so. And I'm like, hey, get me those, we got to put those mid-major conferences up. And all of a sudden I'm like, he said something about Creighton. I'm like, yeah, don't put Creighton in there. Like what? And I know Brian, you and I have had our talks over the last year. We did a good job last year. The way to both of us grow up and not fight over dumb things like, is the Big East power conference or not? But I don't know if it's to say you guys have arrived or what dumb term, but you guys are right there. And another big step, I guess, to prove that to the rest of the volleyball world is your portal signing of Aiden Ames, right, in the offseason. Like that's going toe to toe with all the big dogs in college volleyball. I'm guessing there were quite a few suitors for Aiden in the portal, and you guys getting that sign is just like signing a top 5 recruit, if you will. And that's just another sign of Creighton being right there with everybody.
Yeah, we love to be able to do both. And we have developed freshmen like through their careers. I just think so well. I mean, we've started. Obviously, Abby Hayes was an all freshman kid, and we developed so many through our program. And then we use the transfer portal to fill gaps and fill holes. And thankfully, we're different. And so we've had so much success getting P4 type transfers who want to be more than just a number, who want to be a part of a culture and make a difference and make an impact. And so we've had so many of these transfers come in and do that and have the best seasons of their careers and go farther than they've ever gone before. Obviously with Aiden, it helped that we've played against each other. There's she likes to always joke now it's like an inside joke between the two of us that the final picture of us beating Texas in the Sweet 16 a couple years ago is on my wall. And so when she came in for her visit, her and her mom came into the office, like looked at the wall and was like, "That's me." So now it's just like our running joke. And so she knows the level that we play at. I know you kind of talked about like we're proud to be in the Big East, and obviously like the Big East has prepared us for the postseason every single year. Our social media team like did an awesome job today, like coming up with like fun stats. We're one of 5 teams that have been to the last 2 Elite Eights. We're one of 9 teams that have been to the last 3 Sweet 16s. And it's a pretty elite company that we're in. And I think if our league wasn't preparing us, there's no way that we'd be able to make the runs that we're making. And we just like to look at our overall schedule. We play a top 5 strength of schedule every single year. I'm still upset that our schedule was ranked 2nd last year. So we tried to make it a little harder this year.
What do you think when you look at classes, and we talked about your class? Well, I guess we can't talk about your class, but potentially it might be really good. What do you guys think when you go into this year? I always look at camps, and just talking to Keith, we look at our player profiles and kids that update us, and every single year it just seems like there's more and more talented kids from different parts of the country that are coming to camps. Do you feel like even this year it was a higher talent level than it has been?
Yeah, and I think when I got here 5 years ago, our elite camp was 5 states. It was the states that touch Nebraska.
Yep.
And thankfully we're on TV so much now, with the runs that we're making and the tournaments that we play in. Like we're on national TV as much as anyone in the country, behind maybe 1 or 2 schools. And so because of that, we're just seeing way more. The year after we beat Texas, all of a sudden, we have a Texas kid at our camp who commits later, and so this year, we had the most states ever at our elite camp this year, from East Coast to West Coast and everywhere in between. And so I just think our footprint just continues to grow. A few years ago, we would have phone calls with recruiting coordinators, and they'd bring up schools. Oh, this kid's looking at this level of school. And I'd be like, oh, well, we beat that team twice this year. And they'd be like, oh, well, that's shocking. And now because we're out and, public so much now, like I don't have to have those conversations anymore. Like I think everyone is very well aware of the level that we play at. And again, just the fact that we're different than everyone else. And we really fit a certain type of student athlete.
Izzy, what did you learn in your year about just recruiting and maybe the college game that you didn't know from being out a couple of years, right? Playing pro or being an athlete. What did you learn about recruiting and being on the other side that you maybe didn't know or weren't prepared for?
I have learned so much about the recruiting process, especially now. I think people don't acknowledge how different it is now. When I was being recruited, I visited like 15 different states. I could go on unofficial visits. I could call coaches anytime I wanted to. It took me 2 years from like end of 8th grade to 10th grade to commit, and ended up not even visiting the school I committed to. But now it's so much about spreading the word about who we are and expressing interest to coaches and recruiting coordinators, and then just showing up. Like, we show up so that they show up at our camp. We show up so that they know we're interested. And expressing interest without speaking is so different, and not creating those relationships prior to people coming here. So having these relationships with coaches and recruiting coordinators so that we can trust them and they can trust us as we're making our process, I think is so important. And being authentic, like, we understand that you can sell anything you want. You could show up to any campus you want and they can show you a million pictures of it being sunny and the nicest people ever. But being authentic and consistent within that, I think, has been so important for this program. And it's why they've done so well. Like, we show up the exact same every day. This campus, the people in Omaha, they're the exact same every day. Every game, we're still in Nebraska, Omaha. Like, you're going to get the same fans every game. Incredible loud environment every single time. You walk around the city and people know you every single time. Like, it is consistent. It's not just, we're going to show you incredible on your visit and then you come here and it's like, okay, that's one day a year. So that's been the biggest thing I've found for us that's been helpful. Just because it genuinely is that way. Like, we don't need to fake it for a visit. So we're just going to be us and go with that. And I think that's been a huge strength of this small community school, but in a big city.
Yeah. And I love that because, I mean, whether it's been good or not good, I've been pretty honest in 5 years. And I say, look at our coverage this week, right? Creighton, Texas. I'll talk to Coach Reyes tomorrow, even though he's like in a different zip code. You have, I talk to Kentucky. We'll talk to Louisville. We'll talk to, Wisconsin. We talk to all teams that do what? Have like national titles and Final Fours and Elite Eights and conference championships. And, even with Keith, Keith's gone to like 14 NTDPs, even though he was just an assistant working his way up. The common denominator is, what I tell people is, yeah, there were like 15 other programs that I also sent text messages to, right? And some of the same ones I've sent text messages to before. And they're like, let me ask compliance. Well, y'all have compliance. Brian could have lied to me. Right? Brian could have lied to me. But what I'm saying is, you all are just as busy as everybody else is. And you could have just not gotten back to me 4 years in a row now. But Brian always has time. Right?
Yeah, I think in the end, like, we're a people first program.
Yeah.
And I think you're one of the people that are trying to support volleyball and trying to grow the game. I remember when I first got here, you were just trying to highlight people in South Dakota and then North Dakota and then the Midwest. And now you've, obviously grown much bigger. But like, I appreciated you then, like, just trying to get the word out. And again, I just think who I am as a person, as a coach, and like what we are at Creighton is like, we're people first. And so like, I just want to support good people. And do we always agree on everything? No. And that's okay too, but we'll be healthy about it, and we'll have fun conversations. And I'll never hold a grudge afterwards either. And so, it's just fun times.
No, but what I mean, and that's why I love that. Like, I finally, Izzy and I think, talked last year, and I'm like, God dang it, I had maybe one of the greatest conversations ever with your old head coach. Now I can't get a hold of him again. And then we finally, a month ago, I talked to him again, and we talked for 3 stinking hours. And I'm like, hey, Dumbo, can it not be 2 years now? Oh, was it 2 years? I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, sorry. But
you should call him that on this.
Well, I did on text, and then he's like,
no comment. No comment.
I apologize. Well, yeah, I'll tell you what I said. But then he gives me this Lauren Carlini. And I'm like, he goes, she'll handle any question you throw at her. Trust me. I'm like, I was hoping to be you. Like, but what I mean is, like, those guys don't have anything better to do, right? But they took the time. What I'm saying is all the programs that complain about that, they have the opportunity too. You guys work hard, and Coach Booth, you guys worked hard for how many years to build the program step by step. Great programs do all the little things they have to, and including talking to people they may not always love and that annoy them. And that's okay. I'm going to keep annoying you, Brian. I'm not going anywhere. So, but what do you guys see, like little interviews, extra interviews like this? And now it brings, like Izzy said, it brings you guys extra attention now, doesn't it? But it pays off?
I think like our program has, and we fight to continue having, really good perspective. Like understanding where this program did come from, and Booth being here and Angie being here for so long,
Yes.
I think you see the roots of it, which is super helpful. And that's something that I think Brian's done a really good job protecting throughout taking over kind of like a new era when it's continuing the same thing. It's not brand new. It's the same thing. You're still seeing they used to play in a high school gym when Booth was here. Like I still hear stories about that. They don't drop the past here. They acknowledge how far this program has come over time. And even like they bring that stuff up, and I'm like, when I was in college, like I didn't want to play them. Like I didn't want to play them in the tournament when we could meet up. Yeah. I understood what kind of program they were. So, and I think that's pretty universal for college athletics. Like you might see it's a smaller school, like personnel wise, but nobody wants to play us in the tournament. Like you don't want us as a draw, and our players still understand where this program initiated and like the absolute bottom, like building from the ground up, and we are like getting to the top now. And I think that has made the journey so much more fun for our players, even if they weren't here 23 years ago. Like they understand and they appreciate those alumni, and we still have so many alumni in town and around for games, and people that played for Angie in her first year that'll still stop by, and people that just got done this last year that'll still stop by. So seeing kind of the generational build of the program gives us a lot of perspective, and it's something that has to be protected over time, though. It can't be just thrown to the side.
Yeah, and Omaha is, I mean, it's the volleyball state. Like people appreciate it, but you guys, Creighton has its following, and you guys have earned that and built that, and I think it gets such a reputation as such a classy program.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time that we do have, like, we sell out every game, and it's just the best environment to play in. But I always say, like, we also have, like, they're very knowledgeable at volleyball. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, our fans know when to cheer, know when to sit, know when to clap, like all those kinds of things. But like, if the game doesn't go our way, or if one of our kids has a bad game, I don't ever have to worry about like Twitter. Whereas I know there are a lot of other programs where if I was there, I would tell my kids to get off social media. And so I just think our fans like love the game, support our team, like through it all. Even we went 0-2 to start this past season. It wasn't like, there were some programs that had the same record as us that were like people on blogs, throw in the towel now kind of thing. And we ended up in the Elite Eight, so I think it worked out pretty well. But so I just think our fans have great perspective. They're awesome. And again, because of where we are, I can't walk around downtown without like someone stopping me, no matter what I'm wearing, and be like, "Oh my gosh, like we're huge fans. We'll be at the game." Even if we were on the road, like they know we won. They know how it went. They'll talk about the players on our team. They know all like the little story. One of our athletes just is running track. And just finished 6th in the country in the long jump. Yeah. I probably had 50 texts from season ticket holders and fans like asking when her flight home was, like asking if they could like get something or do something for her. Like that's our community, and it's so special. I know like Trinity, the athlete, like has like she's felt that like so much right away of just the difference of community. Again, it's not nothing against where she was before. We're just different.
You brought up Trinity so casually.
What she did was pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, but and I put a tweet out about this. Part of that is you and your staff, it's a program decision, but I tweeted this that you should feel proud of this, but you need to understand not every coach handles it that way. They don't. And it's the business of college sports that you made that so that could happen. And that's a credit to you and who you are and who the program is, because that at a lot of programs that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And
I can tell you this started with Booth. Honestly, I mean, I can tell you, like, we have a lot of P4 transfers on our program that tell us that they're almost all online for classes and all those kinds of things. And like we could do that too. You know, we could put our kids online. We could limit the classes that they take. We could take away certain majors, but you know, the culture that Booth created here, like along with the incredible staff and teachers and all of that, like, I mean, our Elite 8 team 2 years ago had 4 kids as nursing students. I mean, we played a 5-setter at Nebraska. We got home at midnight. They were in a hospital at 5 a.m. doing clinicals for 12 hours. They missed 1 practice every week. We have 2 education majors that are in classrooms, like teaching, like full. And again, these are all starters that are like having these schedules. And yeah, as a coach, I could easily tell them like, no, like those are off limits. You're a volleyball player first. But that's not who we are here. Like, we are always going to be about the student athlete. And we want to help them on their path, wherever that is. And we understand that missing 1 practice maybe like isn't the end of the world. And we have great athletes that will make it up. You know, they'll come in, they'll ask for extra reps, and we don't ever get it confused. Our team wants to win. We are an incredibly competitive program, and they compete, and you know, we want to go to a Final Four and win a national championship. And we just feel like with the people that we have, we can do it differently. And so when Trinity came here, she was shocked when I asked her if she wanted to do it, and I told her from the beginning, like, I'm not going to push you into it, but I hope you know that if you choose and you want to do it, I trust Coach Gannon, who's our track coach, and I hope and I promise that you can trust him as well, and we'll all work together. And she's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I don't think anyone could have seen what was going to happen. I mean, she hadn't jumped in 2 years. She had 4 weeks of practice and got to go to Eugene and finish 6th in the country. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the story is amazing, and and that's the Brian that I've got to know, and I just think that that's a part. And you know what frustrates me sometimes is part of my mission statement has been to explain to people there are many programs that don't do it that way, right?
Yeah.
And I know everybody gets
it. There's a lot of pressure. You know, we're paid as coaches to win. You know, like it's
right.
There's a lot of pressure in what we do as a profession, and so I get it. And also those athletes are here on a scholarship or rev share and NIL to play volleyball. And that's something when Trinity started jumping, I had coaches reach out to be like, yeah, like, are you seriously going to let her jump? Like, who's paying her scholarship? Like those kinds of things.
Yep.
And again, I respect where they're coming from. Like we just do things differently.
Right. And yeah. And I think I got to get the bad guy note for bringing that up. And my whole thing has been, I just think it's fair to educate people that there are both kinds, because there are also athletes that are fine with that, right? That want 100%. That other kind.
Yes.
I just want them to be educated, and then you make your decision, but don't go into it as a 16-year-old completely blind, knowing that you're not being told the truth.
Yeah.
Right.
And we always try to say, like, we're not better, we're different. Even like, you know, we have small class sizes, and for some people that is what they want. They want to be able to have a relationship with their professor, those kinds of things. And then there are lots of kids that want to hide in the back of a 500-seat auditorium. Again, I was one of those kids. You know, like I didn't know any different. I went to a big state school, and I was the last row passing notes down the aisleway. So again, like, I don't want to say that we're better, we're just different. And so some people we're going to fit, and some people they're going to hear it and be like, that's not for me. And we totally get it. It's all about fit as anyone goes through this process.
Even at Creighton though, like, I don't think a multi-sport athlete for each one of our kids, even if they were incredible at another sport, would make sense. So having the conversations with Trinity, and I know she called me a week or 2 ago right before Eugene. She was just like, I hope everybody knows I care so much, and this is just such a balance for me now. Like, my mind isn't volleyball all the time. Like, she's not a kid that needs to be volleyball all the time. She's actually better when she has different things to think about and different goals to have. And it's been so cool seeing her go through her journey where she's not just swamped in volleyball and technique. Like, she is an athlete at the end of the day. So it's been fun to kind of watch her navigate that. And I mean, I told her, I was like, get on a podcast and talk about it, because an individual sport versus a team sport, and navigating that through the year and figuring out your mentality in both and how to balance that, I think she's doing such a great job at. And that's something that we continue to have conversations about, not just like expect her to figure out on her own.
Yes. And yeah, and that's why I praised you, because I felt like it needed to be brought up, that you guys handled it so well, not to get brownie points or anything like that. Right. I did it because it is odd. And that's why your program needed to be praised, because I've also had I'm going to play basketball and, well, it just happened with somebody from Florida last year, right? And I'm going to play basketball and volleyball. I'm like, no, you're not. Right? Because you know how that works.
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, yeah. And I'm like, but that kid's going there thinking, and how many times, I mean, I used to coach football, and we got the track football, and they're like, just get him here. I've been part of those conversations also. Yeah. Just get him here. And I'm like, now, and so my thing is just tell them. But they don't. They're like, just get him here. And so, but a 16-year-old doesn't know you're lying to him, right? Yeah. And we don't know that's happening. And see, then it always gets awkward whenever I bring it up. It gets awkward on your guys' end. And I'm like, why? Because you're doing what's right. I'm trying to bring it up. And the people that aren't doing it right keep getting away with it. And I'm the bad guy for bringing up that even happens. But I'm like, yeah. So you guys did it right. And I love it. But I also know there's people that don't. And tomorrow, the whole culture word will come up in like 9,000 phone calls. We got a great culture. I'm like, no. Yeah. You guys have a great culture, right? And that's a perfect example of it. Along with, like you said, getting home from a match at 2 a.m. and having girls go to their nurse practicum at 5 a.m. Yeah. Right. But I want their name because I would like that to be my nurse, because my nurse is really grumpy, and I need a nurse like that. But anyway,
we have several alums in the Omaha hospital. So if you end up in a hospital here in Omaha, there's a good chance your nurse could be a Creighton volleyball grad.
I'll tell you what, my blood pressure at the last Omaha Final Four, I was in the hospital. That's how that happens. What do you guys do when I ask everybody this, what's it look like tomorrow? Is there a war room, or do you just take, like, does Izzy have a recruit? Do you have a recruit, or is it a team? Like, what's tomorrow going to look like?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. Like, we'll Zoom kind of as a staff with some people that we kind of all know. And then there might be a few people that maybe we don't know as well that we can go slower in the process, or maybe Izzy takes a call or I take a call with them just to kind of build a relationship, see if we're a fit, see if our goals match. And then, like, from there, if it goes well, then maybe we do like an all-staff Zoom with them, trying to get, people set up, throughout the mornings. But we like to Zoom. Again, like, we're a relationship school, and so I want to get to know them. Like, we are a bring your parents in kind of school too. Like, it's not like I always love when kids have like their parents like hiding in the corners or whatever. Like, no 16-year-old should make this decision by themselves. And so, like, I think parents should be involved in this. Nowadays, money is a thing too, and so I just think this is a family decision. Like, I have 2 daughters myself, and I would never have my kid just figure this huge life decision out on their own. And so we try to bring as many people in as we can. I do as much homework as I can. I was a 9-year high school coach, so I love calling high school coaches. I think they have such great relationships with players and know them in like different ways. Some of them teach them even. So I've talked to a lot of high school coaches over the last few days. We want to make sure we don't just bring in good volleyball players, but good people. And so most of my phone calls are, tell me about this person as a leader, as a teammate. How are they when things are going great? How are they when things are not going great? All those kinds of things to get to know more about who they are on and off the court and how they're going to impact our program.
Izzy, what's your, like, are you the closer? Or are you the, I mean, where do you just handle setters, or what's your kind of main role?
Our whole staff has been pretty involved in this. I think me and Brian do a lot of the talking with like recruiting coordinators and coaches and creating those relationships, and then kind of update our staff on everything. Like all of our decisions are full staff based. Obviously we have our opinions from watching them in person a little bit more live, but yeah, it's all staff based. We all get together and get to kind of discuss what we think, and things are aligning and coming together organizationally pretty well right now. And then, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm the closer. I think if anything, I'm a little heartless, so I think I'm a little.
I think what Izzy adds, so because our player, like pretty much everyone we talk to, their list is P4, 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 and us, you know, or like it's like us and so like Izzy is able to provide like really good perspective from someone who just played, and so just, you know, not that long ago. I don't even know what it is now. 4 years ago. I don't even know how many years ago. You're not that old, Izzy. And so she can bring great perspective of like just what being an athlete at this level is like. Again, we do not negatively recruit. Again, we talk about like, this is what's different. Like she can talk about what's different between like her experience and what's different that she's seen here at Creighton. And so like, I love that she is able to offer both perspectives, both good and bad. But she's able to offer like a really unique perspective of just kind of like what makes Creighton different. And again, either that's going to resonate with the student athlete that we're talking to, or it's going to be like, no, you know, like that's not for me. And that's all. And that's what we want to find out on these, you know, on these phone calls and through the conversations and all of that, is, you know, are we the right fit? Like we want people for 4 years or 5, if the rule changes. Like we are not a program that has people transfer out. And, you know, so our goal is to train people up and to give them opportunities to compete. And, you know, when Coach Booth hired me 5 years ago, like Final Four was the goal, and we've sadly come just short a couple times here in a row. And we continue to want people who are Final Four driven, because as we've all noticed the last couple of years, if you can get to the Final Four, you can win the national championship. And I think the last 2 years have shown that, you know, the two upsets, kind of over the same team, sadly, but like two upsets have led to national championships. And so we know if we can like get over that hump just a little bit, you know, a couple years ago, losing in 5 at Penn State still haunts my dreams just a little bit. But like you can easily look at that game without looking at the preseason. You know, if we would have won more of those 5, so, you know, we lost to Nebraska in 5 that year, we lost to Louisville in 5 that year. I think if we win one of those, we're hosting Penn State instead of going to Penn State. And, you know, maybe that's the difference between winning that 5th set or losing that 5th set. Yeah. And so like we really like stress to our team like how important our preseason is. You know, we're coming to Sioux Falls. I hope you already got your tickets. But yeah, you know, we're open this season, Purdue, Minnesota, USC right out of the gate in Sioux Falls. And so our team doesn't get the luxury of just coasting through the summer. Like they need to on their own get to work.
I'm sorry, who's the third team?
We play USC that Sunday. So
USC. Okay.
So we play. Yeah, it's Purdue Friday, Minnesota Saturday, USC. So we're the only team playing 3 matches that weekend. So we said bring it on.
So you could be cool, like seeing how small the margins are. Like even talking about the last few tournaments, we keep bringing up like who was in the Final Four, who was in the Elite Eight, who was in the Sweet 16, from like all these stats we've been looking at today and speaking about. And I think our team does a good job at understanding how small those margins are and how much like every single practice matters. And we kept making a point of that this spring. Like you could coast right now in 8 hours all you want. Like you could finish your 8-hour practice for the week and be done with it, or you could make it matter. You could understand that you have a summer break coming up and kind of coast through the end of lifting, or you could go all the way through that, hit your PRs and come back and PR again going into the fall because you did all the work in the summer, like not losing that progression. And I think our team is doing a really good job this year of being like, no, we are genuinely right there. Like we are 2 points away. Yeah. And like, where do those 2 points come from as a team, as a, I'm going to use the word culture, but as like how they connect with each other and how intentful they are of connecting with each other. That was a big thing this last year that they acknowledged. They were like, we're insanely close on the court. Let's go create those relationships off the court collectively. And it was already good from what we saw. So it was fun
Yeah.
to see them strengthen that even more and be like, that is a strength of ours now. And now it's the next thing. And then you come back to that. So they're so intentional about hitting us with what they think they need to get better at as we're coaching. And
Yeah.
they go and do these things on their own, seeing those small margins. And I'm so excited to watch it like pay off in the end. And they're going to look back and be like, this was worth it. This was worth it. It was hard together and it should be hard together. So I'm just excited for this year.
Yeah. Well, I think, and maybe Izzy, you understand this, rather than say culture, you talk about a tradition. And when it's a tradition, you're like, it's our turn now. Like, that's when it's like, okay, we lost those seniors, but and you talk about it like, okay, this team's going to be a little bit down. And you're like, oh, they're back in the Elite Eight again, because it's a tradition. And now next year, seniors are like, our turn. This is our chapter to do something great. And when you know what I mean? Like when tradition takes over, the talent level might be down slightly, but it's that, like you talked about, how tight they are.
Yeah.
Makes up those extra.
It's cool to see that build. Like by the time I got into college, it was a disappointment if you don't make Final Four.
Yeah.
And now it's like, we're disappointed we're not making the Final Four. Like, it's really cool to see that mentality. Some teams are like, oh my God, we made the Elite Eight. That's incredible. All of our team is like, no, we should have been there. Like, let's go this year. Like, seeing that, the expectation is not, they're not going into games being like, we expect to win, but the expectation, like, win. If you don't win, it's a disappointment. And I love that our team is in that competitive mindset right now. And it's cool to see them kind of like shift into like, no, we're there. We are good enough. We are this way. And I think our transfers do a really good job of bringing some of that tone into it too. And you speak it into existence. If you don't believe it, like, you genuinely don't have a shot at winning a national championship. Like, all those teams, like we said, the margins are so small that if they don't speak in a certain way, walk in a certain way, believe in each other, and if every single person on our team does not believe, every staff member does not believe, like, you're right, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see our team completely buying into that on their own right now before we even like have conversations about it with them.
Yeah. And Brian, you probably know this. I mean, how many times have you been like, or in sports, oh, they brought in all this, I call them thoroughbreds, right? They paid to have the best team. Well, the culture's crap, right? And so by the end of the year, yeah, they have the most talent, but you don't know what happens in a locker room. And then you hear after the year, when you really get to talk to people, it's like they hated each other. Well, what happens when you hate each other is you finally get into that Final Four or that Elite Eight. And another team that has amazing chemistry has a little bit more to play for. And then those thoroughbreds get stressed. And then, it shows. And they're looking around and And so when you have that non-All Big East senior captain who grabs somebody and says, no, you will do it. Those are the teams that win. Like,
I think we have like this, we have such a great mix of like chip on the shoulder, underdog mentality with like top players as well. Because historically, we've never gotten the top recruit. I mean, if you look at our best player, with the exception, Kendra Waite was a really, really high level recruit who wanted nursing, and we were a great fit. Norris had one other offer, one. Ava Martin had like no other real big offer. She was an undersized outside and fell through the cracks. Jaya Johnson had like no other real, like we thrive on these players that are like just under the radar that come in and just work really, really hard. And then again, I give Angie and Booth and all the coaching staff just like so much credit for just like elevating every player. I just feel like we maximize talent every year. I mean, when we look at some of the teams that we've beaten in the NCAA tournament, I don't know if most people would look player to player and maybe say like, oh, well, clearly Creighton's roster is more physical or bigger, some of those things. But man, do we outwork and out team and out some of those things, and just more prepared sometimes. And now, again, because we've won, because we've had the success, because we're on team, now we are starting to get the top recruits too. 8 names didn't give us a phone call the first time. Some of these, our the 27 class, the 26 class, the people that we're probably going to talk to tomorrow. Like we probably don't get those phone calls 3 years ago. Maddie Bilinovich turned us down the first time, and then had her best year of her career here and became an All-American. Elise Getzinger, turned us down, or I don't even know if she reached out. She was on the same team as Kiara Reinhardt for club. Went to a different school, transferred here, had the season of her career, became an All-American, and is now playing pro. But again, I think because of what we've become, like now, like we get these opportunities with them, but historically, it's been like that next kid, and then we work really, really hard to train in our gym. I think our league allows that as well. Like we get to truly train within our league, where we don't play any midweeks, and because of that, like we actually get to practice in season. Whereas the P4s these days are playing like so many midweeks and traveling all over the country and all these kinds of things, where they're kind of like always in game ready mode, because most teams are going to like taper down as games approach, and so they're in that mode so often, whereas like we're able to practice like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like every single week. And I think because of that, like that's why we're playing our best volleyball come postseason time. And then the Big East tournament, it's always done a great job of preparing us for postseason play. I love that the P4s are starting to get all this like, oh, they're being so innovative for starting conference tournaments. It's like, well, the other 32 conferences have been doing that forever. But yeah, so I love that the other conferences are doing it. I think it's great. Again, anytime we can get volleyball on TV, it's huge for our sport. So I love that they're doing it. I think it'll be great for all those leagues. I think those things help prepare teams for the tournament.
It's also like important to navigate the transfers that come in the right way as well. Like you said, we've done our research on all these high schoolers and having all the conversations with like every coach they've had and any kind of background they have and all this. Like we do the same thing with transfers. Like we hear stuff about Aiden Ames, and we're not going to bring her into this program to maybe be a top player but a bad teammate. Like we do all of our research on these transfers as well to make sure that they're coming in with the right mindset and ready to elevate the program as a team and physically. So I think that's been really important, especially with how big the transfer portal is right now and how to integrate kids that have different experiences and allowing them to use their other experiences. Like he said, they value my perspective as a recent player. Like we value our players' perspectives as people that came from different schools as well, and like everything that they went through and the things they liked, disliked. Like we'll have these conversations on what they want to bring here and to bring to Creighton volleyball as well.
Yeah, absolutely. God, I just like talking to you guys. Now, like it became the Creighton podcast. But
let's go.
But with that, we do have breaking 2027 recruiting news. So I better let you guys go, so it's not some kind of like dumb violation. But I will let you guys go so you can prep. Thank you for. I mean, what a great talk. I appreciate it because you guys do run a classy program, and thank you. And I will you both be in Indy, or how do you guys do that?
Yes. Yeah, we'll both be in Indy. I think Izzy might be in Orlando. We're still TBD on Orlando. It's my birthday. So I told Izzy if someone's going, it's you. So we'll see. We also have like a big golf fundraiser that day. So
too much humidity for this big guy. That humidity kills me. So he will.
But Darren, I better see you in Sioux Falls this fall. I better see you there. Let me know.
No, we'll talk about that. Those guys, we'll talk about that. But the Pentagon's dead to me. So we'll talk about that. But
I'll put you on my pass list, Darren.
You will see me in Vegas. That's my tournament. You'll see me in Vegas next year. Can we get you guys to the big? Hey,
I gave you the chance to invite me.
We'll talk about that tournament too, but we'll talk about that tournament too. There might be we'll talk about that tournament too. We won't call it the rivalry series. We can't give up your guys' match at the CHI.
But just bring the tournament to CHI. This is where volleyball fans are.
I know, but I don't think they would.
I mean, if your goal is to sell out, Nebraska is the place to be.
I don't think. Well, I know, but I don't think they would give me any sliver of that. That's the problem, including me in that.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that question. They let you rent out.
I've done a lot of free work in my life, Brian. I'm done with those days. The volunteerism is done. So on that note, we'll let you guys go. I appreciate you. Good luck. Good luck tomorrow. Let me at least sleep in till like 7:30 before you guys start like conquering the
What time zone?
world. Central.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Deal.
Don't be calling out to like some foreign country or something. That is one thing.
We don't do midnight calls. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, I got to get to my breaking news here. You guys get some sleep and good luck to the Blue Jays tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye, Darren. Have a good one.
All right. See ya. All right. Hey, everybody. We do have you check your Instagram. Portland 2027. 2027 just flipped her commitment. But with that, we'll let's get back to this. Sorry, great to talk to those guys, but we got some stuff to run through as we wrap this up. Let's get back to this. Our teams that we think have some momentum coming into this, and again, look at the logos. Look at the logos, not the names underneath, but even I guess Utah State. Oh, good job, Zach. Good job, buddy. Zach went and fixed it during the break. Appreciate you, bud. Texas A&M. And that's going to be one of the storylines here. We'll get to that afterwards as well. Stick with me. We do have some great stuff to finish here. We got the storylines of the class and this. Programs with heat. Texas A&M, they really control this class. I think a lot of teams, it's going to dictate the domino effect, as we talk about, is going to roll off of how Texas A&M does, and I think they're going to act pretty quick tomorrow. But they have the momentum. They have some cap space. They have some roster space. Look for them to have a big class, and look for them to have a talented class. Big camp. They have the NTDP momentum. They have everything. So big class for the Aggies should be, I think, the number one class in the country. And it'll be talented. So they have all the momentum. It'll be big. TCU, I have loved what they're doing for the last couple of years. They've got Texas has a very talented class prep-wise. I think Jason and his staff are doing a great job. They've done a great job in the portal. They bring in some sneaky camp prospects. They just stay under the radar, but they signed the right kids. And they brought in some true freshman transfers as well. I just love what TCU's doing. They're my sneaky pick for 2026 as a team. Just watch for them. May not be the biggest names all the time, but they're my team to beat in the Big 12 this year. BYU, they are going to be there, and they're going to be there. They could sign the two in-state. I think the two in-state top 10 prospects, and if they land one of those big setters that was at camp, that would be a huge top 10 class for sure, which would be huge for BYU. And to go with all of the players that coach brought with him from Utah State, a great nucleus. UCLA had a ton of prospects at camp, which they always do. But I just think this is the staff. I thought the head coach hire was great. Stevie, who I talk about all the time as one of the best recruiters in the game. Also the NTDP connections. They brought in two very highly touted prospects last year, moved themselves up to, I believe, 3 or 4 in the class for us again. Everybody nationally might not have thought it was the flashiest class, but when you sign the top-ranked prospect in California, a top 5 prospect in the country, and then a top 15 prospect in the country to go with her, that weighs in on the national scale. Watch UCLA again this year. I think it's a bigger class, and I think it's very talented. North Carolina, I love what the staff is doing. I got a chance to meet that staff this year. I really, really like them, how down to earth they are, how straightforward they are. Again, I like what they put together in 27 by hitting the right pieces. You know that I love Marley Smith as a setter. Again, she won the 1% setting competition this summer. And they got one really, really good prospect, I thought, at middle from HPSTL. They really get penalized by not having a coach able to go to NTDP. And I'm not going to go into it, but I'm just going to say that them not being allowed to be at NTDP hurts them a ton, especially with in-state prospects in North Carolina the last few years. Just going to say that. But I love what North Carolina's doing. Utah State, we just talked to Keith. Enough said. Arizona State, they maybe should be in that front row. They have done it with transfers. They've done it with Arizona kids coming back to Arizona State through the prospect, through the portal. They are right there. And man, how can you not want to go to Tempe? And they've won. They've won in the tournament. This staff now has done it for 3 years. I just think they're ready to crack through with kids from the West Coast or from Arizona. And yeah, I just think they have heat, and they have kids at camp every year. I think this is the year they finally start to land them as 2028s. Kentucky had the best prospect camp they've ever had. I think the trip to the national championship game pays off, and they don't need much. They land 1 or 2. I think they get the setter they want. I think they get an opposite that they want. I think Skinner always does a great job with the DS libero that he wants. And there's a sleeper. She's not a sleeper. She is a legit top 10 outside. If they get her, that makes this class, and it's the best class since Brooklyn DeLay and that crew. Michigan State, Kristen Kelsey, year 2, they did an amazing job with year 1. They stack another class on top of it. They dropped down a little bit. We had them in the first row last year, and they came through. I just don't think they need quite as much because of what they did in the portal. I think they add, I'm going to say, 2 key pieces. They add, whether it's an opposite and outside or an outside and a middle. I think they grab 2 legit front row players and one of the top liberos as well. Kansas, again, Coach Ulmer and getting Reese Messer was absolutely gigantic. They need a pin. They need, I think, to get a top pin in this class, but they're going to be right there. And he's going to get the libero that he wants. That's going to be an anchor, and he's going to get solid kids. His culture, he has a young team. He's not going to do the foreign route that he had to do last year. This is going to be his kids, and it's going to be a solid class that he puts together like he did at Oregon. But I really think he needs to start landing a top pin if he can. Michigan, again, a very, very talented camp at Michigan last year, coming off what I thought was Coach Virtue's best recruiting class last year. Northwestern, I love what they're doing, and I've said that about 4 times, and their camp was great. Watch for Northwestern to have another great class. They got decimated when Coach took over 2 years ago. That wiped out that entire class they had coming in. They had to start over. Last year, loved that class. They got a transfer back, Circle City Middle came back from Stanford, huge pickup for them. And again, I just loved the talent that they had at camp. I thought they're outperforming talent-wise literally half of the Big Ten with what they had talent-wise at camp. I really, really like what's going on at Northwestern. Clemson, and we talked with Coach. I thought we could put Clemson and South Carolina right next to each other because I think they have similar things, even though they're big-time rivals. I think they have identical stories going on at Clemson and South Carolina, and I want to see it both continue. I thought their recruiting classes were almost the same, and I thought they were huge last year, and I think they have the same kind of momentum, and they both had very similar select camps, and they actually had quite a few of the same kids, regional and state. They'll probably be fighting for some of the exact same recruits in that Southeast area, that South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia area. Really cool to see Clemson get quite a few A5 athletes at their camps the last 2 years. And Texas Tech, I put them in as a flyer because they ended up putting together a decent 27 class, got a couple transfers, at least some big names, and followed their football program at all. Their basketball program, they have spent some money. So maybe they're pushing some of that towards volleyball. We'll see. They haven't been any kind of a factor lately, but just something to watch because they put some stuff together at the end of the 27 class. All right, storylines for 2028 before we get you out of here and with some closing words. Aggies will control the tempo of this class. Again, it's going to run through them. They had a huge select camp, which some coaches agree with, some don't. Those in favor are like, hey, everybody wants to come to you, bring them all in, and then at least you see them. And the ones you don't sign, they have a relationship for the portal later on. Those that don't agree with it are like, hey, you bring them in, you don't sign them, maybe there's hard feelings, and you don't get them for the portal because, their feelings are hurt that you didn't take them the first time. I don't know. I just know it's the hottest program in college volleyball right now. Yes, and that does include Nebraska. That does include Kentucky. That does include Texas. It does include Wisconsin. I don't have anything on here about Wisconsin, but look for Wisconsin to put together a very solid class of, I'm guessing 3, possibly 4. It's got to be setter. It's got to be libero. And, well, it doesn't have to be pin, but I think they have to look at one front row player. And I'm going to say an opposite. All right. I heard this from 2 people, and I don't like it at all, but it is what it is. They said, look for the pace of this class to be even faster than normal, meaning a lot of the USA volleyball kids, top 50 kids, are down to maybe their final 2 schools, which I just don't understand it, and I can't believe it, but, it's their process. So look for the pace of them committing to be faster than normal. And that means tomorrow could be even more hectic than in the past. And so, well, it could be fast and furious, but that's their process. So look for a potentially crazy day tomorrow. The Rick get richer. Okay, good job, Rick. The rich get richer, meaning, a lot of these top programs are the ones that are playing in these special events the first couple of weeks, and they're getting NIL money to do that, meaning they have more NIL money, and most of those programs had more money to begin with. They have more money to give the top athletes. So when you're talking these top 25 and top 30, they're going to the top programs. That is what it is. And coming from a guy who cheered for a second level, third level college football team for 25 years, money was involved then, money's involved now. They can talk about it all they want or don't want, but it is. And it's not that somebody's just a better recruiter, and coaches can talk about the culture all they want. And that just means they got a lot more culture. And they've been negotiating for some time now through the club or whatever, but it just is. There's, people down in the orange level don't have that opportunity to keep up. And there's about 8 programs that even play a factor unless they go all in on one kid, and it's hard to put any kind of a roster together with that. So don't expect anybody to come out of, outside the top 10 and just grab somebody that you're talking about in the top 25 prospects. And there's a definite reason for that, even though we still don't talk about that in volleyball. It happens like it does in the other sports. It's just the figures are down because the rev share and the NIL money isn't quite the same as it is in basketball and football. But you just don't expect some brand new school to come out of nowhere and be a player for a top 10 kid. A question I have is, remember, how much do foreign players factor in, and are they going to factor in earlier in the process than they did in years past? Read a stat in the 2026 class, about 12% of the Division I prospects of the class of 26 were foreign players, meaning they took 12% of the roster spots from U.S. prospects. Okay. And that just trickles down. Okay. And then when you figure in the 5 for 5, that means what percent, 10 to 12% of seniors stay another year. There's that many less spots now for incoming girls at the Division I level, right? So you could be looking at a possibility of as many as 20% less Division I spots for U.S. recruits in this class of 28. All right. Now, something I always look at is the domino effect, right? We call it the domino effect with setters, but really there's a domino effect with almost every position other than maybe libero, because there's just so many bros out there to commit. But the domino effect, right, is almost like that peer pressure. The domino effect is when that one setter commits, dominoes, right? Boom, 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 boom. Several will commit one right after another. Okay. Somebody takes that first spot, then number 2, then number 3, then number 4, then number 5, boom, 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 almost right after another, like they're fitting into slots. Okay. Now, in the past, that's taken a while. I don't think it takes a while. As a matter of fact, that could be tomorrow. And yeah, that could be as early as tomorrow. And I think the domino effect for setters starts really early. I also think for outside hitters, it starts very, very early as well. Something I have a question on: do any 28s start the trend of 5 for 5 and go down and work their way up? And I don't mean this disrespectfully, but eventually what's going to happen is some of the top recruits, or whatever level you want, right? Say you're an elite red prospect, right? And there's going to be a trickle down effect because of the 5 for 5. more seniors stay, and it just kind of bumps everybody, in essence, down a prospect level. Okay. So what happens is eventually what's happened in a lot of other sports is those prospects see an ability to play. Okay. They see an ability to play early and not have to sit at a higher program. They see an ability to play early at a quote unquote lower prestige level program, and in essence get paid NIL or rev share twice. Okay. So they go to a lower level prestige program right away, play for a couple years, and then they're in essence going to transfer after a couple years. Okay. Get upset, don't like it, don't want to talk about transferring, but it's inevitable, and it's the map of over 50% of college athletes. Okay. And it happens in football. It happens a lot in basketball, and it's going to happen with volleyball. And a lot of programs are just embracing it and saying, hey, we'll take a more talented player, even if we get them for 2 years, and we'll pay them, one, because we get a talented player on our team, we can promote them, and we can increase attendance for a while. We also might get one of their teammates or friends to come with, for less, and we might make a little bit of a run. We might get a really good team, combine them with an older transfer, and we might have a nucleus of 3 or 4 decent players, win a conference, maybe win a tournament match, right? That's what you've seen as the model in college basketball when you see a mid-major have a good run for a season, right? And then they break up, they go their other way. Now, some volleyball programs are already thinking that way, like, hey, we'll do that, and then we might have to reload next year. That's just the reality. Don't murder the messenger here, okay? But how long is it going to take until high school athletes start thinking that way? I think it's going to take a year or two. Right now, I think the 28s are just going to go proceed. They're going to be just like they have been, and they're going to proceed as normal. So I don't think that happens really at all this year. And does anybody say no and take their time? I'm sure there will be. I don't know who that really will be. Maybe it would be, I don't really know. Everything I've kind of heard is most of the tops look to decide early. Okay. And the last thing I want to go into, we've had a couple questions come in that are great. Just a comment more or less that says Samuels and Anu are going to be huge gets as far as setters go. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's 3 or 4 setters that are going to be really, really good in this class, but they are. I do now, as far as predictions go, I think Samuels is, and I didn't think this a while ago. I just think Samuels is going to Nebraska. And I think now, as of today, I think with Anu, Wisconsin is really in the picture as of things I heard today. Could be completely wrong, but now I think that's Texas and Wisconsin on that. And that's crazy. But Wisconsin is just has a lot of resources, and they're going all in. I know there are other things, libero, like I talked about, but that would be nuts, because I do think whoever either of those schools doesn't get will pass until next year. And so that's nuts. But I think Nebraska's always been very high on Samuels, and that's a great regional fit. And yes, she is a very, very polished setter who emotionally can handle what it takes to play in that environment. Boy, Megan Hodges to Nebraska or Penn State. I don't think Penn State at all. I think I've always thought Megan Hodges to Nebraska or Texas has always been my thought. And then somebody today had said A&M, even though I don't think she's part of the mega Texas A&M class. I've just always thought Hodges to Nebraska. I don't know. Again, I've said this 100 times. That is why I wish this class could wait until January and had time to really think things through, because I would love to see Hodges and actually Rottenberg. And I know Shayla, it makes complete 110% sense. To go to Nebraska, but I would just like to see her look, because Nebraska's middle position is so deep. And when you let them wait until January, like I've said, you go through this year and then you go through a portal, so you see who actually leaves or stays, because if everybody stays, that's a lot of depth. And maybe, what is it, 4? And then Andy Jackson stays. Who knows? But she did go on camps and places, and wow. I love these comments, by the way, but I appreciate them. Boy, that would be like a Names 2.0 there if Shayla went to Texas. I almost think if she's going anywhere, she would maybe go to Louisville. But I don't know. Somebody asked me today if I had to pick Nebraska's class, and I had said, I don't know why, I've always thought since camp last year they were taking Leilani Lamar, but I just have. And I have nothing to back that up other than I thought she was the best at their camp last summer, and that and $6 will get me a coffee. I don't know. So I had said if I was going to pick, I would say Lamar at outside, Shayla at middle, Hodges at middle / right, and then Samuels at center. And I think they and then I think they actually take this year off with a libero. I think Texas gets I'm tired and I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me for the prospects, but yeah, I know. Louisville is my hardest class. Let me go back. Yeah, I'll make some. Louisville, and Louisville crew, they're my guys. I love Louisville guys. I just think they're in. One thing I do is I think they get Chloe Burbage. I've always thought Chloe Burbage is their setter. Well, yeah. All right. Hold on. We'll talk about Hafner. I'm a little bit different there, and I could be wrong, but what the heck? I make predictions. I'll just make them. All right. But I got to focus. I'm not a multitasker. So let me stick with Louisville here. And this has been hard because I've been going back and forth. They had an amazing camp. I'm just trying to think. I would love to see them get Leckler because I think her upside's huge. But all right, here's one I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Molly McGovern for an opposite. They don't have to have a libero, but I'm going to go Chloe Ritchie. I'm going Chloe Ritchie for libero. Outside, but see, they're in a great spot where, again, they do not have to have one. It's them. I think they got a good old battle with them and Pitt. Penn State will try and get Burridge. Penn State will really try and get Burridge. I just think right now, I think Pitt has the upper hand. I do. Insincere. Yeah, Schuster. I think they want Burgess over Lamar. But I could be wrong. That's just my take. All right. So what did I say for Pitt? God dang it. You guys I love this though. And thank you, nobody, for coming in and saying I'm an idiot. I appreciate the appropriate comments. So thank you. All right. So let me go back through this. Outside. The go for Burridge. If not, I think they might pass this year. Oh, liberos, Chloe Ritchie, Louisville, Chloe Ritchie. I think they're going to get Molly McGovern, Ritchie, McGovern, setter, Chloe Burbage. Middle, God, they're really good there too. No. I think they would take a shot at Rottenberg and maybe Glossner. But I think Gloucester's going to Penn State. And that's it. So those three. Okay. Yep. I know. I'll get to what I think on. Okay, so let me go to the next one. Louisville. Leilani. Yeah, I do too. I didn't think Nebraska would necessarily go after an outside unless you just go get an outside in every class. Originally, what I thought with Nebraska was you wait, and because next year is the year for outsides. And you know where the battle is next year. But if they did, I thought it would be Leilani, is just what I thought. Yeah, so that was the Nebraska class. They liked how I totally agree. So I think you go, just because I've called her the GOAT. I've called Hafner the GOAT prospect. So what the heck? You go and then things happen. But I think Texas gets Hafner. Why do you believe? I don't. I didn't. I don't. I would create a new position. I said that when I was talking to somebody this week. I would create a new position for Hodges, like we did for Gronk in the NFL. Tight end, then when you get a mismatch, split him out and make him a wideout. I would do that for Hodges, and I would make her a middle and a right side and just have her run every route in the book. And I wouldn't call her either one. I would just make her, she's that good at both. But I think but if you're going to be Nebraska, I think, what do you tell Rottenberg? And I think they really would love both, but maybe not. Floyd is the best natural, and I'm just telling you, the girl from Utah is really stinking good. She just hasn't played that high level as much as TAV and Floyd has. Okay, let me get up here. Leilani to Pitt, along with Mesa, Walker, Knox. Okay, Pitt. Yeah, I love trying to get these guys. All right, Pitt, Knox, sure thing, and I love her. I love that kid. Love that kid because she connects with her outside so fast. Love Knox. Underrated as heck by everybody else. But you go watch her in a big gym, like a magnet. At the first water break, she's got 3 outsides that just follow her. I don't know what it is, but she puts the ball on the money for them. I just think Burgess is their number one. That's just who I think. Yeah. Now Waller would be nice. I could see Waller. I hadn't thought that deep because I've been trying to figure out the darn outside, but I could see Waller. I could see Waller for sure. But I just think Burgess is their number one. Lamar's great, but Burgess is, I just think. You're right. Burgess did not camp at Penn State. Her mom does follow Kellen. That I interviewed her this week. It's great. I would say it's in the lead, but also really likes, she also camped at A&M. She also camped at Louisville. So I think that might be one where there's some negotiating going on. She could take a minute. And Burridge. Do you mean, oh, sorry. Louisville, Burridge, Burbage, Rich. Ooh. Man, AAA 05. That would be the class. Burridge, Burbage, Ritchie, and Locklear. Woo! And Glossner. Whoa. Now, Todd Chamberlain is my guy, but him and the Meskey Dan would be the closer of all time with that. I just think Burridge, yes. Ritchie, it depends because she was at Wisconsin also. So that depends there. But I would love it, I think, and I would love it. The other problem, well, it just depends what they want from her because now they got that Bauer girl the year in front of her. But who knows? That's like 6 light years away. Locklear, man, where else? Vandy, she camped at. Now Glossner. See, I think Glossner is going to Penn State. I think Glossner will go to Penn State. The other thing, and I don't know, we talked to Glossner since March, but there's talk of her playing right side at the next level. I don't know if that's something she wants to do at all, if there's talk of that, or that's just coaching talk or, NTP talk or what. But good job, Claire, coming to my defense. Do you think Janiyah can develop into a 6 rotation player? She can. My problem is, or not my problem, my thought process is she is not going to come for free. And how patient are you going to be with someone who will not be free? To develop her into a 6 rotation. Later in her career, probably. I know some people are looking at her to be able to just play front row. But yeah, I mean, I think she can. She's just behind in that regard. So that's my only thing. Okay. Okay, here we go. Lexi Moore was the hero. She was the star at NTDP. Okay. All right, I'm trying to see your NTDP stuff. All right, well, do you know why people prefer Hodges over Floyd? I don't know they do. I think they're on very similar levels. I think we have them like a point apart. I don't. I think they're both at Texas camp. I think they're both at Nebraska camp. I think I don't know. I think that's like great and great. So that's why I don't like rankings. All right. Thanks, buddy. Go ahead. I can finish your. Thanks, Zach. Love you, buddy. Yeah. So I don't know. Tomato. So I don't know if they do. One thing is Floyd's, or natural. Hodges is just still learning the opposite. So it depends how you're going to play her, where you're going to play. One, Hodges is a little more of a freak, I think, athletically. I think the culture of a program a little more important to Floyd but I just think Floyd, I'm 90+% sold she's going to Texas. I just think so. Maybe A&M, but I've always thought Texas, and I think that culture would really fit her. Okay, Hodges has more upside at Oppo. Yeah, Lamar 6 rotation. Yep, Marissa Jones to us. I say, yeah. That's the thing with decommits in volleyball. There's nobody announces it, but she was at their camp, whatever, a week ago, and she took all the Kansas stuff down. Allegedly, somebody messaged me, I don't know, a week ago, and said she took all the Kansas stuff down. But you kind of figure that. you kind of figured that when Messer committed, you know, with the 5 for 5, Messer would have 4 years left. Right? Yeah. She would have 4 years left, and that's just not good. But I think, yeah, Kansas, that's amazing. But Ohio State, she should get the opportunity to play at Ohio State. So she should be their star on that team. So hardly believe Megan Hodges is the biggest get as a pin. I don't disagree. When she got healthy this year and they put her back in, I don't know. I just saw one clip, one highlight film or highlight video from her club, and from behind the 10-foot line, and it was gnarly, as the men's volleyball coaches say, right? It was insane. Yeah, and her game face is ridiculous. She wants to, yeah, so much potential, but so many of these guys do. Some other ones, one, I think, as we go on that list a little bit, I think, well, let me go through. I got my big board. I got to put them up here, but the one I think would be huge. Kentucky's class. Nobody ever asked me, but I love skin. I think, and go through and remember them here. I think Julia Clark, I'm putting together Kentucky. Julia Clark, middle from A5. He's going for the three-peat. That'd be 3 years in a row, takes an A5. And she, I think, is really, really good. And then we're going to take Taylor Johnson is my sleeper for them. And Taylor, that would be their best prospect since Brooklyn DeLay. And then Molly Monday is the setter that they're going to get. So Molly Monday, Taylor Johnson, Julia Clark, and hold on. Well, I don't have my list here. Let me go back and see. Oh, Zach took it. My opposite. How about one girl I wonder about is Freelix. Lana Freelix, active. I don't think that's not Kentucky, but I just have not watched her, but I've heard really good things, and I don't know enough about her to make a prediction. But I'll think of the opposite. But that I will think of that. But that would be a huge class. I just think Kentucky had their best select camp ever this year, and I think they're going to have a big class. That would be huge for them. But all right, I don't need to be Any more predictions? Thanks, you guys, for chiming in. I appreciate those questions. For sure. Everybody, we'll wrap it up then, I think. And with that, no more questions. Thanks, guys. Live show. Good luck to everybody. Good luck to everybody tomorrow for any athletes who are tuning in. And best of luck. Just remember, it is the start of your process. I know there's always pressure. Don't compare yourself. Take your time. If it's your true school, they will wait. They will wait. They will wait. And also, this is hey, thanks, Claire. I appreciate your help. I really appreciate your help tonight. Thank you so much. Listen, it is a long process, and y'all don't know what's going to happen when this 5 for 5 happens. 2028s. This is your time to get recruited. I know it's going to seem like the world's ending if you don't commit by noon tomorrow. Just wait. This is your time to be in control, right? The school that works for you will be there. I've gone through this now with 5 classes, and you just don't know how many come up to me a year later or even in the fall and say, you were right. I should have waited. I've never, ever, ever had a girl or parents come up to me during their 17th year club and say, you know what? We should have decided sooner. We should have committed quicker. Never. But when I talk to them during their 17th year, they're like, man, we should have slowed down. Talk to people in college. Talk to them. Call them tonight. Reach out. DM them tonight. I know you all think you know. You don't. The coaches have the control, right? They've done this for years. Slow down. Ask somebody. It'll be there. Okay? And if school X is your dream school and they tell you to decide in an hour, they're not your dream school. Okay? And there's this thing called the transfer portal. If you're good enough, they'll come get you the second year. Trust me. I know you all want to go to one school for 5 years and never leave. Go look up the probability of that. Right? Be real. Be realistic, right? And I'm not lecturing. I'm just telling you how it really is. We're the only website that does that. Okay? Right? And I catch a lot of flack for that, but I don't care. We're here to educate and just let you know the truth about what's going on. And then you make the decision, right? You got time. You got time. We'll post your social media if you decide in September, right? We'll be here. Just take your time. Make a good decision. They'll be there. All right? All right? And if somebody gives you a new house, a new car, and a bunch of cash, give me a little bit for helping you out. All right? No. Enjoy yourselves. Best luck. Ask tough questions. And it's your time, right? We'll be here covering it all. Take care, everybody.